Hi, good evening all. Welcome to the regular city council meeting of Tuesday, March 18th at 5:30. Calling the meeting to order. Pledge of Allegiance, Councilmember Morris Lopez. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aranda. Councilmember Frios.
Here.
Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia.
Here.
Mayor Jordan.
Here. Thank you. We are now going into closed session, but before we do that, do we have any public comment on the closed session?
Seeing nobody in chambers and nobody via Zoom. You have somebody. No hands raised on Zoom, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. Can you take us to closed session, please? Do I have to read it? Sorry, thank you. Closed session is on a conference with legal counsel on existing litigation, Orozco versus the city of San Juan Bautista et al., California Code, Government Code Section 54956.9 D1, and conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Kurosaki versus City of San Juan Bautista et al., California Government Code Section 5495691, 9D1. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, the second item has been withdrawn from the.
Thank you very much. We will not be discussing B. Thank you. Hi, welcome all to the what? Sorry, I apologize. I thought we were ready. 6:01. My bad. Please sit by. This is like the first time anybody's been in here. Hi. Thank you very much. Welcome to the regular city council meeting of the city of San Juan Bautista, Tuesday, March 18th at 6:01. Can we let the record show that council member Aranda arrived at 5:39? Thank you. City attorney, can you please take us out of closed session?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of the city council and public. The city council met in closed session on item 2A, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Orozco versus City of San Juan Bautista, California Government Code Section 54956.9 D1. The city council was updated with status on the matter, and there's nothing to report out. And item 2B was withdrawn from the agenda.
Thank you. Public comment. This is public comment on items that are not on the agenda, So if anybody has public comments that on an item that's not on the agenda, please step forward when called.
Bill Adams.
Welcome, Mr. Adams. If you can do me a favor and just make sure that your green light is lit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to the city council for listening to me this evening and staff. On January 21st, you voted on and approved a resolution number 2025-2. Part of that resolution was a 45-day period that was allotted for the work to be completed. That day, that time period expired on March 7th. And to this date, no work has been done to my knowledge, and no planning has been done. At that point in time, around March 7th, the castle attorney met with the city attorney to discuss what was moving forward, what they had to complete. Mayor Jordan, is it proper for me to address John Giffen and ask if he could give me a report on the discussions?
We can't answer questions because it's something that's not on the agenda. You can ask the question though, and we will absolutely get back to you.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
So, did you have a question?
I did. Did you want me to answer
Yes,
it
please.
now?
No, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I thought
Ask,
you wanted it done formally in writing or something.
well, you can ask the question. We'll write it down and,
Okay.
and make sure that,
No.
Go
I'd
ahead.
ask Mr. Giffen, just for an update, we haven't heard anything at all on what what the parties are discussing, and not that we want to know exactly what's being discussed. I know you can't do that, but just an update.
Not a problem. Happy to do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
thank you very much. Do we have any other public comment?
No other speaker cards received, but we do have one hand raised on Zoom.
Thank you.
Shauna Frios, you have 3 minutes.
Hi, Shauna, welcome.
Hi, Mayor. This is Shauna Friels. I have a question about the nonprofits grant program that the city rolled out or budgeted for last July 1 for this fiscal year. We were under the, all of us nonprofits were under the understanding that there would be a grant actual application process that would take place at the beginning of this year, calendar year, and that we'd be able to apply for funds. Some of us do various things throughout the city of San Juan Bautista, and my nonprofit that I'm the chair of, the Roses House Org, Inc. We are the lead entity with regards to the historic walking trail here in San Juan. And we have a next phase that we're very interested in moving forward with, but we do need some funding. And we still have not heard about the opening of that process. I've emailed and talked with others. I've emailed the city manager a couple times, and I haven't had a recent response. Our fiscal year is just about up, and so we're hoping that that might actually happen soon. And I did recognize that there's an item on your agenda tonight for next fiscal year for a I don't know that they're a nonprofit, but an entity in San Benito County, and it's for next fiscal year. And I'm wondering, is that something the rest of us should start doing, is sending in requests for funding for next fiscal? Because we'd be happy to. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments?
Nothing further, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Item 4A, Treasurer's Report. Wendy, hi, Wendy.
Hi there. Let's see, you have in your pack tonight the treasurer's report as at January 31st, representing 7 months of the city's fiscal year, or 58% of the fiscal year. General fund revenues are in a line with budget at 57%. Our expenditures are at 48% for the year to date. The net effect is a positive change in the general fund balance of $285,000. The water enterprise funds revenues are at 61% for the year to date, and expenses are at 47%, providing a positive change in fund balance of $646,000. The sewer enterprise fund revenues are running at 62% for the year to date, and expenses are at 56%, which provides a positive change in sewer enterprise funds of $627,000 for the year so far.
Thank you. Questions from the council? Councilmember Aranda?
No questions.
Thank you. Councilmember Friels?
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Thank you. No questions.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia.
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have none. Thank you very much, Wendy. Do we have any public comment on this?
No speaker cards received, Madam Mayor, and seeing no hands raised on Zoom.
Thank you. Next item is for consideration, San Benito Leadership Institute sponsorship. Approve a one-time sponsorship to San Benito Leadership Institute in the amount of $5,000 to help support the 2025-26 leadership program. Brenda Weatherly. Hi, Brenda, welcome. You have a green light, right?
Yes, I have a green light. Do you hear
Thank you
me?
very much. Then you're
Okay.
you're good to go.
All right, awesome. Good evening, Mayor Leslie Jordan and council members. I'm so happy to be here this evening. Thank you for allowing me to be here. I provided a letter of request and also an update in your packet. But I also wanted to let you know that we are approaching our 7th program day this Friday, and we'll be covering the theme of change management, leading and supporting transitions. And this will include a focus on nonprofits and in our community and their roles in the community and the importance of supporting them with our time and skills. I also in that report there's demographics about the actual cohort, who's made up of the cohort. But I wanted to let you know I have one here with me today. So our Chandra Palacios is here, and she is going to talk to you about what she's experienced so far, and then I'll follow up. So she's a resident of San Juan Bautista, and she's one of 24 of our cohort members. So Chandra.
Nice, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you guys for seeing me and letting me speak on behalf of everybody on the team.
Sorry,
Um,
time out 1 second. I'm not sure that that microphone's actually working.
Is that better?
That's better.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much.
There. Okay. So I just wrote a few things down to keep my focus on what I wanted to say. When I began this program, I was asked by my employer, Granite Rock, if I wanted to be a part of it. And when I looked it up online, there was a few statements there that kind of stood with me and made it seem that it was a really good program to be with. So one of those statements were, we believe in integrity, inclusivity, equity, and selflessness for the benefit of all residents of San Benito County. And I think coming into San Benito County for the first time, I grew up in San Jose. I've been here for almost 5 years with my family. It seemed like this was a good place to get to know the community better because obviously there's a lot of networking and a lot of programs that I'm not aware of that this opens up doors for. So this statement alone made me excited for the community, for myself, for our children, for our program team members, and for what each future cohort will be able to be a part of. It's not just a program for it's a program for we, and that to me is selflessly amazing. Everything that the instructors and Brenda is presenting to us, it's never a one-person thing. It's always a group effort. So that's really great. I love that. Some important topics being presented in the program consist of local history, economic development, systemic battles, ways that we can improve as a community, social justice and safety, self-awareness and transparency, emotional intelligence, which is a new phrase for me. I'm learning a lot in this program, and it's eye-opening personally and as a community. Wellness hours, which is awesome for personal health, strength finder exercises, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Not only do Dr. Rose and Corinne bring a wealth of knowledge as leaders, but also a huge heart for the betterment of all growing leaders and communities, which makes all the difference in how these 25 emerging leaders, including myself, retain not only leadership skills, but human kindness skills as well. Having community leaders be guests at each one of our sessions, which there are quite a few here. Thank you guys for showing up for us. But also a huge, showing up for our sessions that has been a blessing in so many ways. You get to see them as human, not just a name and a face of someone sitting on a board or in an organization running the show. Being able to listen to their life and career stories, to learn from, to connect with, and collaborate with so many great community leaders really does have a huge impact on the learning process and the eye-opening aha moments to what doors we all have yet to open for ourselves and our communities. One of the biggest takeaways that I'm excited to gain from this amazing team and program is the connection to the people I get to share these 9 months with that all have diverse family and career backgrounds, as well as connection to the community members and programs of San Benito County. This program is constantly opening doors to great networking opportunities for each of us, which we may otherwise have not had, and for that I am grateful. There have been several instances since September when this program started, where I was in different cities, towns, either volunteering or just having a day out with my family, that I end up running into people I have met and connected with through this leadership program. I think it's safe to say I would have otherwise not had the opportunity to meet or get to know these folks just yet or ever. These moments create feelings of community, growth, and togetherness, which I love and believe is great for all of us. They continue to present us with the tools, knowledge, and connections that are needed to make a meaningful impact in San Benito County during our growing process as current leaders, as well as what we take with us as future leaders of San Benito County. With this program, we will continue to grow as a people while working and building together. We will be able to achieve an unending amount of shared goals to make our community better in so many ways, one day at a time. And that's my thoughts. I think it's going to be great for future people as well as everybody that's in it now. And I appreciate the time that Brenda, Dr. Rose, and Corinne have put into this program, as well as all of the leaders here and people that are not in this meeting that have shown up for and given their time for. It really, it has an impact.
That's awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you very much for doing this.
Yeah.
I hope I wasn't too human.
No, no. It's really great. I love it. I think everybody loved it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chandra. That was wonderful. So one of the highlights of our leadership program is the panel discussions and lunchtime leadership spotlights that Chandra referred to. We have local leaders sharing their experiences, challenges, and hard-earned lessons, which you don't get normally. And they give our participants insight into leadership and what it takes to be a good leader, and that they start from nothing. And a lot of people have shared have told them cohort that they never planned to be where they are now. And that's just, it's kind of mind blowing that they are where they are. Our lunchtime leadership spotlights have featured Anna Foglia, from the CEO of Sun Street Centers, Mary Casillas, the CEO of Hazel Hawkins Hospital, San Juan Bautista Mayor Leslie Jordan, Jennifer Lane, Executive Director of the San Benito County Arts Council, and Dr. Pedro Avila, President and Superintendent of Gavilan College. Our panel discussions have included leaders such as Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren, Clay Kemp from the Seniors Council, Annette Gutierrez from Gavilan College, Lorena Guzbela Gomez from Youth Alliance, Bob Tiffany from California Transportation Commission, Angela Curro from the Board of Supervisors, Crystal Lamonto from the County Office of Education, and Omar Rosa from the Hollister Downtown Association, Honorable Judge Omar Rodriguez from the Superior Court of San Benito County, Tom Breen, who was a retired judge, and Elvira Robinson, attorney at law, as well as Jeannie Wallace from the Gavilan Community College. She's a trustee for Area 5. With this access to local leaders, as you've heard, our participants are building connections and a network that will no doubt shape the future for our county. Currently, cohort members are developing their leadership legacy, which is their final project, in which they will present how they are going to show up and lead in our community. And that will happen on May 16th at our final day. SBLI is a collaborative effort with broad community support aimed at equipping individuals with the knowledge, skills, and networks necessary to address local challenges and create positive change. Through hands-on learning experiences, we are fostering leadership qualities that will enable our participants to make meaningful contributions to San Benito County's future. The application period is now open for this next cohort, and it'll close on May 16th. And we would love to have more San Juan Bautista residents and our business owners or employees apply to be a part of this program. Thank you again for your investment this current year. We really appreciate your support in helping us get this inaugural effort off the ground. And then we're just would like to ask for your continued support so that we can continue to do our great work. And thank you very much. And are there any questions?
I'm sure there are. Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. And it's really nice to see that there was an applicant and a recipient from San Juan. That's absolutely amazing.
We have a current applicant from right now in the current.
Oh,
we-
super
We have
cool.
4 right now so far. and
Uh-huh.
One of them's from San Juan.
Very nice. Nice to hear.
Yeah.
Um,
Right, thank you.
questions, comments, concerns from the council? Councilmember Aranda?
Just how long have we been, supporting this?
This current year
This
is your
current-
first year.
this is our first year.
First year as a program.
Okay, got it. Okay.
We are a brand new program.
From my understanding, I thought we had supported this program last year.
Well,
This-
our program year is September through May, so it doesn't follow a calendar year. So
Got it.
you've supported this current fiscal year or this current program year.
Great. No, that's all I had.
Sure.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Councilmember Frails?
Yeah, thank you. It's my understanding that we put some money aside, as a council. And with that money, we were going to have an application process for the nonprofits. The first choices would be the city of San Juan Bautista nonprofits, and then, whatever's left. We don't have that process ironed out yet. So I'm really curious why this group is gets to come to the front of the line. When we all know that there's a process that we've all agreed with. So, I'm kind of confused why that's happening. Kind of seems to me that we're cheating the Native Daughters and the VFW and our local nonprofits. If this were to happen. So I'm confused about that. I would hope that the Leadership Institute would have to come back with the rest of our nonprofits in the application process. So that's my comments. I'm curious for you, Brenda, how much money does Aromas pay into this?
I have not approached Aromas to.
How much did they pay last year?
I have not approached Aromas.
Okay.
I'm not, do they have a city council?
No.
So I
No.
wouldn't
Okay.
know how to approach them for money.
Okay, because they're tri-counties. I mean, they've got
I'd be happy
The
if
three
you want to
counties.
give me some ideas on how to do that. I'd be more than happy to do it.
I've got enough to do up here. That's not my job. So once again, I really feel that we should be seeing this. They should be part of the application process and not get to jump the line. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Morris Lopez?
Thank you for your organization and what you're doing in the community. I'm reading your letter and what you're doing with the group. And I want to thank the young lady from San Juan Bautista. Congratulations. That's awesome. Hopefully you'll come back and run for an elected position or volunteer. I just want
That's
to
our
say thank you.
goal.
Yeah, thank you for your first year and much success to you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia?
Thank both of you Chandra, for your testimonial, and thank you for your presentation. I think I've been in support of this program and what's going on. I do remember us trying to put, and this has nothing to do with you guys. I do remember us trying to put some process in place for us to be able to review these things kind of all at once and in an order. I don't remember that there was a pecking order. I just like to be able to review all the requests at once so that we don't get to somebody at the end of the line who I thought we'd asked for that.
Thank you. City Manager, we have monies left over from last year, and I understand where the council is coming from on the discussion that we had a couple of months ago. And I know we have spoken about this coming fiscal year, next fiscal year, July, and having a process in place and looking at our budget and seeing what we have for a program like this. Do we have money set aside that we still have not used from last year or this year?
I apologize. I may have to pick on Wendy a
Sure,
bit.
sure, sure.
If she can pull up what the number is, she may or may not know.
But just if we have.
We do have some funds set aside. I'm not familiar with how much we had. We've been in the process of researching exactly what the dollar amount is and when the council approved it and building out those parameters. So we are still kind of getting those questions answered. But I was aware that, the council wanted to have a process. And so we have been talking about it kind of on the administrative end, what that looks like, how to bring that forward. And so I'm not sure if Wendy has that number, but we're trying to figure that out.
Figure out what we have left over
Exactly.
or what
Yes.
we can do moving forward.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you'll
What
have
we-
both of those.
what we have left over and also what our recommendations will be in the new fiscal year.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Asking about 23, 24, because 24, 25, we approved a pot of money, and I believe it was close to $50,000. And then we were supposed to get the application. There was supposed to be an application created and one that folks could fill out. So as far as leftover, we're still in 24, 25.
25.
Yeah. So none of that has been used because an application process hasn't been created yet.
Got it. The fiscal thing, that whole fiscal thing. Go ahead.
Thank you for clarifying. We are still confirming, and we just want to make sure that, nothing snuck through before my time, but we will find out. If not, then there's $50,000. We just need to confirm it. and
Okay,
Make sure.
okay, cool, perfect. Sorry to have this conversation in front of you. That's what we do. Questions, comments, concerns from the public?
No speaker cards received, Madam Mayor, and seeing no hands raised on Zoom.
Thank you. So before us, and bringing it back to the council, any final questions, comments, concerns? Councilmember Aranda?
No, I mean, other than when do you need, obviously this is up for recommendation for approval, right? So, when do you need those funds? Like, in other words, to our Councilman Friel's point, if we wanted to enact or get this application process going, do you have enough time? Like, can we review this, or is this it?
So we have a loose deadline of the end of June, just so that we can do the proper promotion for all the sponsors. We've also accepted pledges. We know the money's coming. We do have to get all the money together in order to do our program in September. And I did mention that our application period is open. And so we are really taking applications now, praying that we're going to have all the money we need to actually launch the program again in September. So we're just, we're out trying to get the support that we got last year so that we can do this program again.
Got it. All right, that's the only question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My suggestion is that we finalize the application process and then get everybody to apply and see where we go from there. You just said you knew the money was there. Did somebody promise you $5,000 from City of San Juan Bautista?
I didn't say that.
Yeah, you did. We can play the tape back, but it's all right. So I'm just curious. I wish we could, we really worked on this, getting this, and we should finish what we started. Because it got so confusing for folks who got so confusing. We kept having people come up and asking for money. And pretty soon it was like, gosh, how much money did we give out this year? We didn't really have a budget for it. And this year we finally have a budget for it. So money's tight. I think we need to stick to our budget. That's just my opinion on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Well, I'm a great proponent of your program. I think it's really awesome that you bring up young adults and working professionals that want to take it a step further with their career and give back to the community. I'm assuming you've already gone through, you're a nonprofit. I hear what Councilmember Friels is saying. I do recall that conversation. I encourage you. It sounds like there's a little bit of a serious housekeeping we need to do as a group, but I strongly encourage you to come back, put in your application. I think it would be a win-win for our town and for your program and whoever else from our community steps up and applies. I think that would be a good thing, and thank you once again. And I don't think I heard you say that you're getting money from us. I think you meant like other donors. Yeah.
Right,
All
right. I
right.
do have had pledges from other
Yeah.
donors.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you.
This has been a long process.
Yeah.
Starting all over again, talking
Right.
to everybody all over again.
Right. And just a last question, rough ballpark figure, about how much do you need to run the program from year to year? I know
So
this
we're-
is the first year, but what did you
Right, we
need?
raised $165,000 this year.
Mhm.
So our goal is to raise 170 next year for this next year. Of that, we've increased the cost of the participant, so that's going to go from 1,750 to 2,000. So the participants will be taking on a little bit greater part of paying for the whole program.
Yeah,
So
2,000 for 9 months is a bargain.
Yep.
Thank you.
we're trying to keep it affordable, definitely.
Yeah, thank
yeah.
you so much.
Thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
I don't have any more questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for bringing this in front of us. Thrilled. I'm sure you're aware that last year I was, had lots of questions about what was going on and what the program was all about. And I'm thrilled that you came before us and stuck with it and came before the council this year to ask for more money. Way to put your application in before everybody else.
Wasn't the intent. Just my own timeline.
Surprise. Yeah, I appreciate it. And, I'm hoping that, that we get through this process quickly and can make things work.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Congratulations. Well done. Yeah, super excited for you. And for us. Thank you. Consent agenda. We have 6 items on the consent agenda. Would any member of the council wish to pull one? Councilmember Aranda.
No.
Can I borrow your pen, please? Thank you. Councilmember Friels.
No, thank you.
Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Yes, item 6C, please.
Who?
Item 6C.
C, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia.
Already pulled. The one I wanted to talk about was already pulled.
Pulled, thank you. And I would like to pull E and F. May I have a motion? Oh, sorry, anybody from any public comment on any of them, chambers or?
Yes, we do have one speaker card. Vanda Guibert would like to pull item 6C.
C, okay. Thank you. Anybody else?
And, oh, never mind.
Nope, that's it. Perfect. May I have a motion to approve consent agenda item A, B, and D?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia, seconded by Councilmember Morris Lopez. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aranda,
Yes.
Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Item C, Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The reason for pulling this item is that there is monies that are awarded to us, but it's based contingency on us getting funding from other sources as well. And this is to mitigate some of the issues on Second Street. But the major concern for me is that I want it clarified and verified that in the packet, we received some slides that show various depictions of how they want to fix this street. The concern for me is that that is a nationally historic deemed street. It runs in front of our very important critical state park and also our California mission. And I believe that the pictures I see in the packet show some zebra striping. It addresses perhaps pedestrian warning signs. So for me, I'd like this to definitely go before our consulting firm that deals with specifically historical issues, and also have the HRB from our city and Planning Commission, and also the San Juan Bautista Historical Society be part of this discussion and review of any designs that take place on that street. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia?
Vonda, I'm gonna knock your socks off on this one. I'm normally not in. Man, some of the bollards that look like they're, I know it's just an, artistic representation, but they look like they're, a third of the way in the street. I feel the same way. I wanted to I think I understand the funding aspect of it, all that stuff. Yeah. There's a couple more too. There's one that runs vertically. It's a little weird. I think I understand the funding and the monies and all that. It's, things are expensive nowadays. I get it. But a lot of this is, part of an award and things. My biggest issues were around I don't want to approve this if it means we're approving the exact images that we saw.
Understood.
And historic downtown, corner of town, anywhere in town. I don't think we want any of that anywhere.
Thank you. And I apologize. I probably should have gone to the city manager on this one first for an explanation of said item. What? You have one? Sorry, let's have at. Let's have at it.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to address this a little bit, and then I'm going to rely on City Engineer Sanguinetti to chime in. We understand that the city has a process, right? Our plans go through HRB, planning, and then to the council. So there is a process. But in order to apply for grant funding and to trigger that process, if we are awarded funding as in this process, the city has to accept the money and say, yes, we accept the money, and then we run through the proper process and it goes through the proper review. What you see on your slides is not set in stone in any way. We have to be able to show Caltrans what we plan to do with the money in terms of safety, pedestrian safety on 2nd Street, and to get the grant money to make those types of improvements, right? But there's a lot of things that are up for discussion and change per the council. And there are things that the council has said that they want to see for previous designs in the historic district. And so we're going to keep that stuff in mind as well. So I just want to put your minds at ease. This is really just the first step, which is that the council approves the grant award.
Thank you. Vanda?
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and City staff. I'm Vanda Bear. I'm speaking on behalf of the Historical Society tonight. And yesterday I sent each of you at your city email a little letter and some affidavits. What I'm holding here is it's just the first couple of pages of the National Survey of Historic Sites and Buildings. This is what named the San Juan Bautista Plaza Historic District to the National Register of Historic Places in 1969. So the National Register was created in 1966, and then our mission was created, the Plaza Historic District was created just a few years later. And the last page that I sent to you shows the map that includes the boundaries. It names 5 buildings, but within those 5 buildings, there are streets. 2nd Street is one of them. And some of the key points that I wanted to highlight. I mean, it is tempting, yes, to receive money and to receive money for pedestrian safety. That's important, but there are ways to do it, and I'm sure we'll look at those. The last line of the 2nd page on this document I'll read the statement of significance. It says San Juan Bautista is the outstanding architectural example in the United States of a 19th century village built on the traditional Spanish-Mexican colonial plaza plan. The 5 structures fronting on the plaza, erected between 1813 and 1874, have been carefully restored, and there are no modern intrusions. The numbers by which the historic buildings are listed refer to the numbers on the map. Okay. What else can I say? It's the penultimate historic district. We talk about the 3rd Street Historic District all the time. We tend to overlook the Plaza Historic District as well. I didn't even know about it until maybe 10 years ago when I somehow happened upon it. And I've made this information more visible in the museum so that we all have access to it. And I wanted to go on record to let you all know and be aware if you weren't. I guess that's all I can say without beating a dead horse. Any comments or questions? No. Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Friels?
Just I understand the process. I think we all do. We have, what is it, 60,000 4th graders a year running around out here in the streets. And then now we've been having some pretty significant events going on at the church. I'm not a big fan of what you're saying, the bollards out there and all that kind of stuff. But we can also use this for traffic calming and things like that, right? If we had some nice inlay across the streets and to slow people down and things like that. So my whole life has been health and safety. So anything for making sure a 4th grader doesn't get hit by a car or a parishioner. And people do drive fast on 2nd Street. I think that's probably why this is coming forward, but I'm all for putting in for this grant. And of course, going through the system, we've had some signage and street signs and some stuff pushed through for the last, a few years back that we're supposed to go in front of our planning commission and it didn't. So yeah, I'm all for following the process, but if we can get some money in while it's available, then I'm all for grabbing it.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilmember Aranda, did you speak on this?
No, I definitely understand. And so, no, I'm all for it.
Okay.
Just to get it going.
Cool, thank you very much. I am as well. I did have a couple of questions that I met with our city manager on, and one of them was, why are we ending it where we're ending it and not taking it all the way down? But these are all conversations that we will have after the monies are received. So tonight, we're here to approve a resolution accepting the Highway Safety Improvement Program HSIP Cycle 12 award in the amount of $349,588 for the implementation of pedestrian traffic safety improvements along 2nd Street. May I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I brought it as a poll item and I said why, but I still didn't get to comment before we took.
I apologize. I thought you commented first.
No,
My bad.
Explain why I pulled it. Thank you.
Press your button again.
All right. So, my other comment or concern is when I look at the letter from the California Department of Transportation dated of February 25th of 2025. They congratulate us for our application. It's been selected for funding. So I guess this question would be for Ms. Colick, our city manager. So it's been selected for funding. Have we been, so consideration, or is it a done deal that we will get the $349,588?
I'm sorry, can you
Yeah.
please restate your
So the
question?
letter that I'm reading says your HSIP application has been selected for funding. So that is a definite, we are getting the funding, or the application is considered for possible funding.
No, this is a congratulations, you're
So
selected
it's
for
I
funding.
just want to make sure.
That's why
Okay.
it's before the council too.
Okay, just want to make sure, just so the public understands too. And then also, in that same letter on the, probably like the first major paragraph, well, it talks about the location, which is along Second Street from McElhamey to about 100 feet beyond the intersection at Washington Street. And it says description of the work. And that is, question on that. And it talks about install one and remove one pedestrian crossing. So we're only limited to that one crossing. I mean, word for word in this paragraph, are we held to that?
I'm going to defer to City Engineer Sanguinetti to answer that question.
Yeah, and then also the other thing that I'm fine with, enhanced visibility at existing crossings, as long as it's going through the process with those groups that I mentioned when I gave my reasoning for pulling it. No bright yellow painting, you know, there's ways you can do this so it blends. So I'm assuming that that's kind of inferred in there, that we would be choosing that in the process. But the thing that jumps out to me, and pedestrian or ped yield signs. And so I have a question that's very general. What do they mean by that? Flashing signs, big yellow triangular signs. So just kind of questions about the wording, and do they hold us to the exact, you know, what do they want from that? So I guess maybe Mr. Sanguinetti could answer that.
Mr. Sanguinetti, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Jordan, and council members, through the chair. In answer to your questions, we have discretion. And I think that Ms. Colick, the city manager, summed it up pretty well, where I'd like you guys to think of this as this is the initial stage in a process, and it's not an event. So the plan is to defer to the Historical Society, get their input, of course, and any other body that works with the city on maintaining the status of the city of San Juan Bautista and its historic nature. As it relates to any kind of signage or extended bollards that you saw, curb returns that are extended via paint, we had to, from our perspective as the engineering firm, we had to meet Caltrans minimum standards. So what you see in those depictions that are raising some concerns, those all come from the Caltrans standards. And that, again, was a mechanism to ensure that we were successful in receiving the grant funding. Now that we received the grant funding, the next step is for this council to approve it. Once we approve it, we'll have meetings. This is where the engineering side of it comes in, and we'll work with the aforementioned groups to ensure that we do something that meets the historic standards that are established for the city. Some of the examples that the council member mentioned are still up for discussion and or transition. Specifically, the triangulated sign that you saw for PED or for pedestrians. The best thing I could describe is if you've seen intersections where you hit a button and in the foundation of the street itself, the flashing lights let you know that there are pedestrians that are entering the crosswalk. This is a similar version of the same thing. It's just not quite as expensive. But again, these are just design options that meet Caltrans standard, and we do have discretion.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions, comments, concerns? There is a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilmember Aranda. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aranda,
Yes.
Councilmember Frios.
Yes.
Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Item F, I pulled. The minutes reflect Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia as being present. So they have been revised to show that he was absent. Sorry. Just want to make them right. Thank you very much. So with those changes, may I have a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of February 18th, 2025?
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia, seconded by Councilmember Aranda. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aranda,
Yes.
Councilmember Frios,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. And item 6E was Women's History Month, March 2025, proclamation. And I understand that there is no one particular woman here to accept it. But on behalf of all the women, sorry. I'd like to read the proclamation. Women's History Month, March 2025. Whereas throughout history, women have been at the forefront of social, political, economic, and cultural changes, shaping the world in ways both visible and invisible. And whereas Women's History Month is an annual celebration of the vital role women have played in our nation's history, and a time to reflect on the progress made towards gender equality and the ongoing work necessary to achieve a fully inclusive society. And whereas this year's theme for Women's History Month is celebrating women who tell our stories, recognizing the women whose work in literature, journalism, art, film, and other forms of storytelling has inspired change, fostered understanding, and amplified the voices of women worldwide. And whereas women have broken barriers and paved the way for future generations in all fields of endeavor, including science, politics, education, business, sports, and arts. And whereas we acknowledge and honor the contributions of women from all walks of life, whether they are world leaders, pioneers, educators, activists, career givers, caregivers, or everyday heroes who continue to shape our world with resilience, creativity, and determination. And whereas we recognize the importance of continuing to champion the rights, opportunities, and recognition of women and girls around the world, working together to break down barriers and ensure that women everywhere are empowered to reach their full potential. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Jordan, on behalf of the San Juan Bautista City Council, do hereby proclaim March 2025 as Women History Month and encourage all residents to celebrate the achievements and contributions of women, honor their legacy, and commit to a future where women's voices are heard, valued, and respected in all aspects of society. Thank you for indulging me, and thank you to all the women in chambers today and within the city, county limits, and everywhere. Thank you. May I have a motion to approve item E?
Motion to approve item E.
I'll
Thank you.
second.
Thank you. Motion made by Councilmember Morris Lopez, seconded by Councilmember Frios. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aranda,
Yes.
Councilmember Frios.
Yes.
Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Action items. Does anybody need a 5 before we get into this? Thank you. If I can take 5 minutes, please, we'll return at, actually, we'll return at 7 o'clock. Thank you. Roy. We appreciate it. Action item before us. What? Oh,
Myself.
okay. 7A Hollister Fire Service Agreement number 1. And the recommendation before us, or our action item before us, is to approval a resolution. And it's attached proposed amendment number 1 to the Hollister Fire Service Agreement. Thank you. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council, members of the public. Just here to give a brief presentation on the Fire Services Contract Amendment 1. Next slide, please. So on October 15th, the council approved a contract amendment for the fire services services following the receipt of a 270-day notice of termination on June 20th, 2024. Fire services within the city were set to end on March 18th, 2025, if all the parties didn't agree to updated terms. And as of January of 2025, City of Hollister and San Benito County were still in negotiations, and thus San Juan Bautista's contract was not ratified. On January 21st of 2025, the City of Hollister rescinded the 270-day clause, allowing more time for negotiations. In the midst of all of that, San Juan Bautista hosted pretty well attended, I'd say over 100 people, on a fire services town hall on February 22nd, 2025, to educate the public and to answer questions about the status of fire services. And both representatives from San Benito County and the City of Hollister were in attendance, and the fire chief gave an excellent presentation on the status of fire services. And San Juan has also stepped up to be the lead agency for the feasibility study that is happening. City Manager Don Reynolds produced the RFP, and San Juan is continuing to take the lead, and we will manage the contract with Baker Tilly moving forward. So here's the contract amendment details. So in summary, the terms request an additional payment of about 150 grand, increasing the fiscal year 24-25 budget from 268,279 to 468,279. After that, the contract of $418,279 will increase by 11% per year until June 20th of 2028. These increases will start in this year, fiscal year 2025-26 at 46,000 and top out at 2027-28 at 56,700. The payment schedule is going to be adjusted from a calendar year to a fiscal year model. The fiscal year will run from July 1 to June 30th of the following year, and this contract will start on March 18th, 2019 and terminate on June 30th of 2028. Unless the contract is terminated. The contract may only be terminated by the City of Hollister if the City of San Juan Bautista fails to make any payment required under this agreement within 60 days after receiving written notice from the City of Hollister that such a payment is past due. City of San Juan Bautista's designated engine shall provide no less than 2 response to all incidents, and staffing levels within the City of Hollister and or any other applicable jurisdictions, unless otherwise contracted, shall be determined at the sole discretion of the City of Hollister. And then to terminate this contract, the City of Hollister shall give written notice to the City of San Juan Bautista stating the grounds for termination. The termination shall be effective no earlier than 90 days following SJB's receipt of the termination notice. This is slightly different from the original contract that San Juan signed and passed in October of 2024. The sole difference between, well, there's a couple of differences, and I just want to make sure I'm very clear about that. The first difference is that we're moving from a calendar year cycle to a fiscal year cycle in terms of our billing. The second difference is that the 270-day clause has been adjusted and that is for lack of payment. The third difference is that the staffing levels have changed. So in our current contract in 2019, the staffing levels say a minimum of 3. So that has been in our contract, and that is since 2019. If we accept the amendment as is today, that staffing level will change, and it will now say a minimum of 2. I don't know if Liz, if you could pull up the contract, just so we can show the difference to the public. We will just show the first page of that contract so we can note to the public that it's from 2019. Perfect. So you'll see the duration of the contract says it starts March 18th of 2019, and then we're going to scroll down to the A3. There, it's highlighted. Proposed staffing and training levels. So here it's listed staffing levels, training levels, use of auto mutual aid agreements unless otherwise agreed to in writing by the parties shall be comprised of a paid full-time fire professional with the ranking of 1 fire chief, 1 battalion chief, 1 prevention battalion chief, and a combination of fire captains, engineers, firefighters to staff the 4 engine companies covering SJB contractor. And the county is listed here. That language has been adjusted and removed, and it's just a contract. In our amendment, it is just a contract between the city and Hollister. And then here, it says, 3 shifts of engine companies per fire station will provide no less than a 2-person response to all incidents on the contractor staffed county designee engine, on the contractor staffed SJB engine located within the San Juan Bautista city limits, no less than a 3-person response on all contractor staffed engines. So that's the difference in the second paragraph there. And will you pull up the new amendment, if we have it? So here in amended contract, you have here, and it's highlighted, the SJB designated engine shall provide no less than a 2-person response to all incidents. Staffing levels within the city of Hollister in any other applicable jurisdiction unless otherwise contracted shall be determined at the sole discretion of the contractor. So from my reading of the contracts, that is the sole difference. We do not have any language regarding a Brown Act out for our station, for Station 4. From my assessment, we will have to pay an additional $150,000 this fiscal year. But that has been accounted for because all of this stuff was negotiated in 2024. The only change is the minimum staffing levels. And with that, we'll take any questions. City Manager Marioni is here, as well as Fire Chief Golding, to also answer questions if you have them.
Thank you. And Roy is here also. Roy and myself and Councilmember Friels have been sitting on the fire district meeting, and we're called in on Thursday to receive this. Let's start off with council comments. Councilmember Aranda.
Yeah, no, I would just want to hear from Chief Golding. Why are we going from 3 to 2? I think I know for obvious reasons. I did attend his session personally where we spent a few hours, and I actually got to tour some of the fire departments and figure out that there is a major staffing issue. But I just want to hear from you as to why now we're down to 2. I know we talked about the pricing and how we were going to figure all that out, but yeah, I need a little more clarification.
I don't know that you're going to get clarification from me. So this is the result of the overall contract, as we discussed last time when I was before you guys presenting the contract. The San Juan Bautista City of Hollister contract and the San Benito County City of Hollister contract are kind of a paired group. When the city of Hollister and San Benito County initially started negotiating, myself and Battalion Chief Dover, who was the interim chief prior to me coming here, we were involved along with the city manager from Hollister in those conversations. When the new council created an ad hoc, I was removed from negotiations, as was at the time Chief Dover and the city manager. So I was not involved in any of the negotiations of this contract, of either contract. I was notified of the terms of the contract last Thursday. So I would be speculating as to why the staffing level changed. But as far as the conversation that led up to it, I was not part of those discussions, so I cannot answer specifically to that.
Thank you. And then I had another comment. I'm sorry, and forgive me for not understanding this part. When we were reading that language on that contract, it said contractor staff. When you talk about contractor staff, does that mean we are, when we have a firefighter at a station or a battalion chief or something, they're actual firefighters, right? We're not hiring some contractor that doesn't know what they're doing and then they're just sitting at a station.
No, in this case, we are the contractor. So
Got it.
if you're talking about staff, that would be my staff.
Got it. Okay. Thank you for the clarification. And then the last one, this would go to our city manager. I believe you guys had mentioned 60 days, right? If Hollister were to terminate our contract, is that, or maybe this would go to our city attorney, is that something that can be increased? Should something, obviously for obvious reasons, if we didn't pay anything, would we need a little more time to get our stuff in order should something like that happen? I would never want to find ourselves in a position again where our contract gets pulled for whatever reason, and then now we're in a pinch trying to figure it out because we didn't have enough time.
It's my understanding that that contract language with the 270-day notice for lack of payment is standard language that you put in contracts for lack of payment.
Got it.
And we would, obviously, we would know.
Yeah,
and we would be
obviously.
having conversations with the city of Hollister well before that notice if we weren't paying.
Got it.
If you look at the contract again, it's not 200, the 270 days should have been removed. So it's 90 days. And again, barring any difficulties of us not getting the check in the mail, which we would notify you.
Yeah. No.
We would notify you that. So it gives you the 30 days to resolve the issue. So it's more of a 90 days, not the 270 days. But if you're not paying us, you're knowing you're not going to pay us. So theoretically, you should know that.
Got it. Thank you. I don't think I have any other well, yeah, no, I wouldn't have any other questions. Oh,
Excuse me, the prior termination agreement was that either party can terminate with or without cause at any time. And so there was a lot of mutuality, and that's been completely removed.
got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Friels.
I do have questions and comments, and then I'm hoping probably when my brain kicks in to be able to have a few more after public comment. The part that I think I'm is confused is Councilmember Ariana. We approved, and it was in October, a contract with Hollister. We all voted on it. After that, who reduced the staffing? Does anybody know that?
Good evening, Council. David Marioni, City Manager, City of Hollister. So as mentioned in your staff report, there was original terms that were presented back in, I want to say August to San Juan Bautista. There were contingent upon, we had made it very clear that we wouldn't be bringing those agreements forward to be signed by our city council until the parties had reached agreement on the county side. It is imperative that we all partner together. And so we were going to bring those agreements together. And so your council had approved it in mid-October. I did not return that to our city council to vote until we reached an agreement with the county. And so when the ad hoc had then formed and met, the direction from the ad hoc was the amendment changes that are in front of you today. And so I presented those to your interim city manager and presented them last night to our city council. And then the county board of supervisors reviewed those terms on their agreement this morning.
Okay. The contract that we all agreed to last year, was that a 3-person, a 3-0 staffing?
There was not a change to the staffing, so that is correct.
Okay, so 2 city council members from the city of Hollister and 2 county supervisors are dictating our staffing in our city.
The ad hoc committee did not negotiate the San Juan contract. The ad hoc committee is the ad hoc, just like the last contracts were not negotiated 3-way.
Okay.
The ad hoc committee negotiated with the county, and then the ad hoc committee gave me the direction, which I then brought in front of our council last night, who gave approval via consensus to move forward, and we would be bringing those items back for vote and approval, as we would be the final signatory, because we would want to make sure that all parties are in agreement before signing.
That makes sense. I guess
Can you please repeat your question, though?
I'm gonna, yeah.
Sorry.
I wanted to go back to the original question. Who made the decision to reduce the staffing at the San Juan Bautista station? Station 4.
So as I said, I received direction from our ad hoc members to bring back a recommendation to the city council. That's it. The city council last evening voted via consensus to approve those terms and to move forward with presenting them to both bodies for discussion and approval.
Okay. This was, I sat in on the town hall, and I've sat in, I watched the Hollister meeting last night and then the county supervisors this morning, or most of it. During the county supervisor meeting, and this is a comment, sir, this is nothing reflecting on you. During the county supervisor meeting, one of the members of the ad hoc committee, which is Kosmicki, said that we never had an agreement for 3 people on the engine in San Juan Bautista. Yet I'm looking at a contract right here, March 8th or 18th, 2019, on page 3A, on the second paragraph, it says no less than 3 people. So I just wanted to point that out, that this is also the same person that is dictating our staffing, and not just ours, not the cities, but this entire Northwest County. So that's a comment.
And I can speak to that. There's been a lot of what I would call confusion on that. And if you'd like,
it's really easy. It's in
it-
black and white. I don't
it is.
understand how he couldn't read that.
No, because
Did he
I've
not
been
get
asked
this?
that question before as well. In the original agreements from 2019,
Mhm.
both contracts they both mention how Ashley mentioned in her report, how it said the county would be at 2, San Juan would be at 3 in your agreement. In the county's agreement, it listed that the county would be at 2 and San Juan would be at 2. So
That's the,
Technically,
that's the
the
new,
agreement with the city of San Juan Bautista was for 3
what's for
staff.
3? Okay.
They
And now we're
heard
going
some
to.
confusion and I
Yeah. And,
would-
and we saw this coming. You know, I thank you for all of the work that you did with our previous city manager, Don Reynolds. Don saw it coming. You saw it coming. You both got together and you negotiated in good faith. We've been at the table since August, I guess, maybe March. Yeah, since March. So thank you. You've been put in a really bad place. I just wanted to say that out loud. The way I feel, and I want whoever's watching, you've been put in a real bad place. And it's your job, and you signed up for it. And I know, but it's still, I just wanted to put that out. So, you mentioned your council, that kind of, that whole thing at the end there kind of confused me. Did they give you guidance on what to, because they didn't vote on this contract. So what's your next step?
So our next step, we've placed on the agenda, I have a placeholder on the agenda for Friday for a special meeting at 6:30. To bring back if it would be either if the county approved and the city of San Juan approved, then I would bring back those signed agreements for consideration of the city council. And then they would, if approved, execute those agreements and those contracts would be signed. And that would be the, you would have amendments in place at that point.
Okay. Unfortunately, there's nobody from the county here to be able to answer any of the questions on their end or even the ad hoc committee, which is somewhat concerning. We never had the opportunity. And you're aware, this is for our public. We never had the opportunity to even negotiate a third person. We were completely left out of these negotiations. And it would have been nice to know, hey, another 130,000 or whatever would put that third person on. But we never got anything like that. And Chief, at the top of your head, bottom step firefighter salary and benefits ballpark?
It's complicated because it's not one, it's 3. So when I was,
Understood.
I was asked for an overview of what it would cost to add that third firefighter. I didn't dive deep into the numbers. And if that is a desire, I can dive deeper in the numbers, but truly to add a firefighter step, based upon our staffing, where our guys are and everything, it's roughly $750,000 to $1 million to add that third firefighter onto the apparatus. But that's because I have to consider the staffing of them, the vacation times, the benefits, the training, the equipment, the gear. So it's roughly $750,000 to $1 million. Those are pretty high level numbers, not down in the weeds and putting names to a spot. If it's something you guys want to consider, but to your point, I mean, that is going to be more than the entirety of the rest of your contract to add that third person.
Yeah. And it's almost the counties and the entire portion of the contract. Okay, so we had the question, who made the decision? Obviously, the fire chief didn't make the decision. And I got the next, I mentioned the contract. I'm happy that the 270-day language is out of there. That was one of the nastiest curveballs we've probably been thrown in a long time. So I'm happy that's out of there. I'm gonna stop now and let the rest talk. I've got a few more questions, but I'm sure I think some of the answers might pop up, but thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Councilmember Morris Lopez.
I just want to say thank you to everybody involved in this work. It's been really difficult. And just to also say that we're not unique in this situation, the city or the county. I listen to a lot of talk radio from the Bay Area, And Oakland, as you know, has had to close a couple of their fire stations. I'm sure other areas in the state and probably other across the country. So it's not anything unusual, but nonetheless, it is concerning for our communities. And I think I'm going to defer any further comments until I hear from the public and my fellow council members. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia.
I'm going to make a couple statements and then I have some questions for both you gentlemen. First issue, everybody knows how I love all the whereas, thou shouts. There is the whereas Hollister Fire Department presented a second annual report stating the cost of services was growing much faster than anticipated by the 2018 study, stating that the call volume for the city being the city of San Juan Bautista, that was an ad lib by me, was 4% of, but the city was only paying for 2% the costs. You know, data analysis, data study is a profession of mine. So I went back through from 2018 and finding public reports. At all times, a minimum of 50% of the calls coming out of the San Juan station go into the county. So I don't know how that factors into you know that 2% delta, but you know this station is servicing a large part of the county, and that isn't being accounted for. I do like the 270-day clause being removed. That was, like Councilman Friel said, a wicked curveball that could be thrown. I don't really have an issue with like the chief said, if we weren't going to be paying, it's something we would know. So it's not like it's a blind side on that contract language. That makes a lot of sense. Most places aren't going to give you 60 or 90 days to keep service without continuing payment. That's I find that pretty generous. Let me find, there was another. The whereas has really thrown me for a loop. It kills me. I mean, there's no two ways about the, like, you know, when you get your taxes audited and somebody comes back and is like, hey, you owe, even can't argue with data, but it's still hard pills to swallow. What I don't like, and because of the how negotiations have or have not happened and the relationship between the two cities and the counties have gone, there's no language in here, you know, stating that, you know, how that feasibility study, like it just kind of says, hey, we're going to do one, how that's going to take place, and no penalties for anybody dragging their feet or you know, playing circus games to not make that happen. I'd love to see some language around, you know, keeping all three parties, you know, honest about that. I guess my first questions, so you said that city manager, you were given direction by two members of your ad hoc committee to bring this forward to San Juan?
Correct. So with an ad hoc, you know, it's going to be spun out to do a particular task. So the council had authorized an ad hoc to create terms to present to the city council. So I did present what was going to be going to the city council, to your city manager for review and to agendize it and get your feedback. Our council last night did approve those terms going forward. And so technically the ad hoc committee ultimately or the council, after the ad hoc committee presented it last night, it was basically these terms are the full approval of the council.
Okay. And who are the members of that ad hoc committee?
So the ad hoc committee is Mayor Stevens and Councilmember Resendez.
Okay. Thank you. And so there was an ad hoc committee that was formed between the county and the city of Hollister that had been negotiating a contract, is what I heard you say.
Yes, our council created a ad hoc committee to negotiate and review the terms of the contracts and to handle that and bring it back to the council for ultimate discussion and approval.
Okay,
So the council last night could have said, we want to see something different. The council did not.
okay. And was there any direction to negotiate with the city of San Juan
So
in the same way that negotiations happened with the county?
no, because we had already reached significant milestones. And so this was the change, the termination language change.
Mhm.
So we felt that that should be the same for both parties. And then, so when you take that off the table, it was the staffing piece, which is what I presented and then was presented last evening.
Okay.
So I guess I should clarify, if our council last night said, no, we want to see something completely different, then this discussion this evening would probably be completely different as well.
Okay. And then sorry, I think that's all the questions I had. My last thing is just a statement again. Chief, you've been here numerous times, numerous nights. You and I have had a couple of conversations before and after meetings. I am a big advocate for experts being consulted to work on, the language of contracts, the actual contracts, and to be, their expertise to be used in terms, I cannot believe you were not included in. I mean, both of Councilmember Friels is saying, you guys are being put in a bad spot. I don't put it that way, and I'm not going to mince words. You got slapped in the fucking face. Somebody can find me. I don't care. Damn. I just can't believe you guys weren't consulted. Like, for me, I might not have liked whatever was going to be presented or said, but if I had known you were there and were part of the conversation and had knowing that you're going to negotiate in good faith and be like, hey, here's the numbers, here's what we need to do. If you had been at that table, like, still a hard pill to swallow, but there's some faith knowing that what went into that garbage went in. So that's all I had to say.
That's all. That was good. I have, I was going to say the pleasure of sitting in both the City of Hollister City Council meeting last night and the Board of Supervisors meeting this morning. I attended in person, and it was super nice to see almost the whole entire staff of firefighters present last night. It was a beautiful thing to see the camaraderie there between all of y'all. I was also there was something that I really had to say. Councilmember Dolores Morales last night asked several poignant questions. And it elicited a response from the fire chief that literally brought most of those who were in chambers to tears on what happens with staffing the way that it is. I appreciated your candidness last night and this morning. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for your candidness a moment ago. It's a little disconcerting to me and to this council that we have been to the table since day one. Don Reynolds, our previous city manager, and city manager Dave Marioni met way back when we were handed the 270-day notice. We, in good faith, negotiated an agreement and come back and find that it has changed, not dramatically, but in October, we signed an agreement waiting for the city of Hollister to do the same. This morning, or even right now, Councilmember Friels asked a question on where the direction came from to move forward with the reduced staffing. And we don't have an answer to that yet. Our original contract said 3, but we hear, this is the first time that 3 of our council members are hearing this. This is the first time that our members of our community are hearing this. We were handed a contract on Thursday, and the amendment on Thursday. Last night, the city of Hollister was handed, for the first time, their council members were handed the stipulations of both contracts. This morning, the county supervisors were heard for the first time. Three of their members heard for the first time, three of their members for the first time heard the stipulations of the amendment, yet we are the only ones who negotiated and find out a day later that everybody else already knew about it. But yet we're not hearing who gave the direction to lessen our staff to two. If the ad hoc committee didn't give that direction, then how could we have had it on Thursday night? So that's one concern I have. The biggest concern I have is, and Chief, I'm sorry, I'm gonna pull you in. The biggest concern I have is, we in our contract do not have a brownout clause. Is it Firehouse 3? Does?
Yes.
And that puts a strain on every other house.
Correct.
We have mutual aid agreements and auto aid agreements with several other agencies around the county. With the staffing being reduced, specifically in San Juan, how does that affect our house and the firefighters who come out of our house? And I, with the understanding that it's just not the gentleman in the back, it's flow through. I mean, we get rotationally. How does that affect your safety, our safety, and mutual aid and auto aid?
So you
And
were.
don't make me cry.
No. I'm going to try not to go there again, but you attended every presentation that I have given on the subject, essentially the town hall, the city hall, or the city council meeting where I was asked to speak in Hollister, and then this morning for the Board of Supervisors. A couple of things that I want to make clear. As I said, I didn't get this until Thursday, and quite honestly, I got handed this on Thursday, or explained to me on Thursday, and immediately following that meeting, the city manager and I drove to San Juan Bautista to deliver the information to the San Juan Bautista city manager and the public safety coordinator, so that we could bring it to you essentially as soon as we had it. It does say minimum staffing. Because it's so new, because I haven't had it for very long. I mean, it's just been a couple days, really. I have not been given direction. So one thing I don't know is what the staffing level will actually be. The minimum staffing is 2. I can only guess what that direction is going to end up being, but at this point, we haven't even sat down and discussed what the staffing levels are going to be, or when it would go from 3 to 2, or any of those types of things. That being said, auto aid versus mutual aid. Auto aid is signed contracts that we have. We have agreements. They're usually dependent upon like resources and reciprocity. So when we have a 3-person engine company and we sign, say, South Santa Clara County Fire, currently the services are provided by CAL FIRE, it's based upon reciprocity. For instance, we do not have an auto aid agreement with CAL FIRE, the San Benito Monterey unit, because their units cannot guarantee the reciprocity, so they have not entered into an auto aid agreement. We do rely on mutual aid. So what will likely happen is if our staffing level is either diverted to 2 or potentially regularly going to be diverted to 2, or more than just every once in a while down to 2. Most likely we will lose our auto aid agreement with South Santa Clara County, which is already in flux as they're transitioning from CAL FIRE to Santa Clara County. I have yet to have a conversation with them because I just quite honestly haven't had the time. Aromas Tri-Counties is a little bit different because they don't staff with 3, they staff with 2. However, as you heard Chief Nunez say at the town hall meeting, CAL FIRE has a push, and their push is to go to 3. So that imbalance or reciprocity will likely cause us to lose that auto aid agreement. We rely quite heavily on the auto aid agreement, especially out here in the San Juan Bautista area. Both ways, we provide and they give us services. One thing that hasn't really come up in any of my talks that I have in one-on-one conversations have, but not been brought up in any of these presentations here. I've talked a lot about the need for the staffing and the personnel and what we could do with 2 people on an engine versus 3 people on an engine versus if we met the NFPA standard of 4 people on an engine. The other part of that, which applies very directly to the San Juan Bautista greater area, not just the city limits, but the area that this crew would be responding to, we're going to rely a lot on those auto aid and mutual aid agreements. And when I have engine staff with either one less person or engine browned out, that puts a higher demand on those neighboring resources. That's additional engine companies I need to get. We already have difficulty getting the engines that we're calling for already. In fact, even with our auto aid agreements, and the auto aid agreement is an official contract that we sign saying we'll send. Mutual aid would be, we're basically asking at the time, can you send? We are running into times now where our auto aid partners can't even respond necessarily. We've gotten a lot more times recently where they've declined the auto aid request because they're not able to assist. So this is going to cause us to need to pull in more, potentially need to pull in more units from further out, which is going to be even longer extended response. And as I've talked about in a lot of the presentations, the seconds matter. And so it's more than likely going to increase the response times to get the sufficient personnel on scene, which is potentially going to lead to greater harm to the public and to property, and most likely potentially our firefighters.
Thank you for that. I want to reiterate that we came to the table in March. We have had a town hall meeting. We have been very open since last year to our community on potential risks. The county was supposed to hold a meeting, and Supervisor Kosmicki pulled it. The city of Hollister never had a town hall meeting. So their citizens have not had the time to digest what's going on in the community like we have had. And I appreciate all the work that our former city manager, our current city manager, our city attorney, our staff, the chief, interim chief Dover, and Dave Marioni have put into making us as informed as we can be with all that's going on. And it still baffles me that the ad hoc committee has, Dave, did the ad hoc committee for the city of Hollister meet alone at any point, or was it always the group? The foursome?
I'm not aware of their complete meeting schedule. So as an ad hoc, they could meet as many times as they want. I mean, they could certainly talk to the two of them as many times as they want. It's an ad hoc committee.
Right,
So there's
okay.
no Brown Act violation in
Yeah,
two
no,
folks meeting.
no, I was never suggesting that.
Yeah, so I wouldn't have that information.
That's perfect. That's fine. Thank you very much. I appreciate the honesty on that one. That our staffing is reduced. There is, the city of Hollister has approved the biker rally in July, the 4th of July weekend. Pulling resources from not only our county, sheriff, fire, the city of Hollister PD, security, AMR, but resources, not just, is it just resources in this county, or are they pulling resources from elsewhere? Other counties, other agencies, CHP?
So we're currently working with many other jurisdictions to get additional support, and then CHP, just by the nature of the highway, would have some impact.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So my question is to the chief, with all of that that's going on over there, how does that impact the safety of our community with limited resources?
Sorry, the button was stuck. So obviously we're going to be impacted. We're looking now, we do bi-weekly rally meetings, and now as of going forward, we're going to be doing the off weeks is going to be a safety meeting that's going to include the police chief and myself, plus our staff. The general impact, the rally is on the 4th of July. It's as you can imagine, the busiest time of year for the firefighters. If you're going to pick a holiday or any day of the year, 4th of July is going to be our busiest day. So generally speaking, we're going to up staff, take the rally out of it. We're going to up staff a couple of engines just because it's the 4th of July. The fact that it's on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's going through the weekend. It means I'm going to probably have to up staff engines for the entire weekend, as opposed to if it was a random Tuesday night, it would mostly be on the 4th of July. In this case, it's going to impact me on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then if you add in the rally itself, in the past, what the city of Hollister has done during rally times is added a couple of bike patrols, generally two people on bikes and 2 sets of bike patrols, so 4 firefighters. And then because of the cutoff of the downtown area, generally they would add an additional fire engine on the west side of town, so that there was less of a reduction in response, or there was a reduced response time, not having to go around the rally traffic. Those parameters haven't been completely worked out yet, how I work through that, but it's most likely going to be just the impact of the rally itself is most likely going to include an additional fire crew plus multiple bike crews on all, or actually in this case, it's 2 days of the rally because they cut it to 2 days. So those 2 days of the rally are most likely going to be increased by a minimum of engine company and 2 bike patrol units.
So the impact on San Juan?
From a fire perspective, I can't speak to that because being the 4th of July when it is, my 2 additional engines that would be on for the 4th of July, if you recall last year, we had a fire breakout at that time. So we had crews, we had Cal Fire, there was aircraft in the air that came over here. That was unrelated to the rally. As far as the rally participants and the effect that they'll have on fire services in San Juan, I can't speak to that.
So we did have a fire last year, and if resources are over there, we potentially could be greatly impacted. Potentially.
Potentially, yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna hold off for everything else because there was a lot to weed through in both of the other meetings, and my concern for not only our residents, our families, but of our, the service of the fire department. So at this time, I'd like to open it up to, public comment. And tonight, y'all have 3 minutes.
We have 2 speaker cards, Mia Casey, followed by John Freeman.
Thank you. Welcome, Mayor, former Mayor Casey. Yes, make sure you're green. Thank you.
Thank you and good evening. This is a first for me. I haven't been here before, so.
Welcome.
Thank you. So this is all marked up because y'all have been talking about all the things I was going to talk about, but I just wanted to say that I've always admired San Juan Bautista for your resilience and your ability to roll up your sleeves and come up with practical solutions. You know, even with this fire contract, you managed to negotiate a fair deal and bridge that funding gap and do it in a year by year in order to reach the parity. And I guess I just wish that the county had been as practical and reasonable. But instead we've got this really unnatural process. I don't know if you realize this, but 2 council members and 2 supervisors, elected people, are doing the negotiating for agencies. That's not their job. It's not your job, right? You might work and be a part of it, but basically your city manager, your CAO, they are supposed to negotiate your contracts. But that process was turned upside down. And not only that, y'all were booted from even participating and the doors were closed. That's not natural. That's not the way this should be. Instead, we've got the behind closed doors. The key stakeholders, your fire chief, who's the expert, was not included. In fact, told, no, stay. And now at this juncture, we're at this 11th hour, this thing is being thrown at you and you have to make a decision now. You don't get any time to think about it. And where is the public input? Both these meetings were done very last minute. The agenda item was added after the agenda was published for Hollister. And we barely got in time for the 24-hour notice for this meeting this morning that was done. And now they're both scheduling special meetings this week. What is the rush here? Okay, you have a contract till the end of the year. There's no 270-day termination clause in place. And there's nothing that says you have to do this now. I know that one of the council members made the statement that, oh, April 5th, if we're going to not renew that contract, you've got to make a decision by then. No, because right now you've got your current contract in place. There's no rush. So why are they rushing you? And why aren't they letting the public know anything? It's because it's a bad deal. And frankly, if I were you, I'd be really angry because you worked in good faith. You negotiated a good contract and then they kind of booted you out the door, didn't let you come to the table and change your terms. That's not okay. None of this is okay. And I'm sorry, it's just frustrating for me to watch. I am concerned for our firefighters. They're already one of the most understaffed in the nation. I don't know. We were listening to the chief talk about this the other day and he was talking about I think it's 1 or 1.5 firefighters for every 1,000. And he was talking about LA and how they had 0.9 and they're considered one of the lowest staffed in the country. And we're at 0.6. So anyways,
Thank you for your time.
Sorry. I'm just urging you to reject this and give yourselves more time and demand to come to the table.
Thank you for your comments.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council. Back in October, I voted for this and it was the right thing to do. I'm going to tell you that the county, and it's not really the county, it's 1 or 2 people. The Supervisor Kosmicki is, in my opinion, the villain in all this, and he's the one that needs our ire. He's threatening the safety of each and every person in the county. But first, I want to congratulate you guys because you guys did it right. You had a public participation. You had a big meeting to San Juan School. You invited the chief, all the fire departments, CAL FIRE, Roy, the city manager. It was done correctly. City of Hollister hasn't bothered to do that, and the county certainly hasn't bothered to do that. So thank you for doing it right. We're probably the only jurisdiction that knows what's happening. Mia said it great. This is a rush deal. Ask yourself, why would someone rush this quickly to do all this? because they know it's a bad deal and they're trying to hide it. That's the only reason why you rush things that quickly. And we've had structure fires. I remember, I think it was, excuse me, 4 years ago near your home. And we had mutual aid and auto aid. And I walked down there with Nico, and there were 6 fire trucks on that block, you know? And 2 of them were from Hollister Fire, and they did a great job. But there were, you know, 2 Cal Fires and somebody from Monterey County. And it was, you know, we could lose that. And that's really, really critical. And I just don't want to see that happening. So I'm going to suggest you reject the contract and start the negotiations over. I think it's a material, to use legal language, when they change it from 3 people to 2 people, that's a material change in the contract. As far as I'm concerned, that's a breach of contract. The attorney knows what all that means. He can tell you. We need to negotiate with the county for a 3rd person at our fire station at all times. Thank you.
Thank you.
Eddie Waracha.
Thank you. I think I'm gonna have to echo the same thing about the issue or challenges that I think San Juan Bautista has been negotiating in good faith and throughout this whole process, just like the contract. This is what we signed. This is our cost that we expected to get and the services we expected to receive on those costs. And when those negotiations faltered on their end and did not include us in that process, it negates that whole contract. And so if we can, I would also support the delay of a contract, of approving it tonight. And my other point is are the negotiations of the ad hoc committee subject to the Public Records Act? Is that a process in which we need to, can we see and divulge that the process or methodology of how they reached those numbers? That would be my question. And I'm seeing ahead, no, but that would be my concern what is that methodology, at least to be able to see and verify before we sign this contract to determine what we, again, we in good faith determined that we wanted to get these level of service at this cost, and then to get this thrust upon us at the last minute and expect us to sign it is just not acceptable. And so that's just those are my concerns as a resident of San Juan Bautista. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I don't have any more speaker cards, but if anybody in chambers wishes to make a public comment, please raise your hand. Jim Lafol, you have 3 minutes.
Hi, Jim. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, and thanks for your time. So I agree with the others. In my opinion, it's clearly a breach of contract, and the contract should be rejected. Secondly, you have the fire chief from Hollister who wasn't even included in any of this, and he's an expert. Councilmember Friels, I consider you a life safety expert. You spent your career in this business. No one is listening on the Hollister City Council or the Board of Supervisors to the experts. They're running rogue and they're doing as they please. It's unacceptable. It's completely unacceptable. I don't want the chief to have to rehash everything he said. I didn't listen to the council meeting last night. I listened to the entire Board of Supervisors meeting today. I think it would benefit the people that are on Zoom listening that maybe didn't listen to either of those meetings to get a brief recap of what it means to go from 3 people to 2 people at a station. And remember something, Hollister has 3 stations. Geographically, they're all pretty close to each other, right? They're in one city. Station 3 is the one by the airport. You might argue that it has the easiest access to back up San Juan. You could disagree or disagree with that. So if that station is browned out, then you've got two stations that are the backup to San Juan. And this is the point that I'd like the chief to reiterate. What happens when you have a structure fire or a rescue and you're responding from a station that only has two firefighters at it? That's it. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, seeing no other hands raised, we close Zoom.
Me neither. Thank you. I am going to bring it back to council for any further comments. Councilmember Aranda.
Yeah, I have a few things. Today I was pretty much, actually, it's gonna sound crazy. I was coming here with a plan of actually moving this forward. Knowing that, our landscape here in this town, we don't have all the funds, so I want to be conscious of our funds and how we're going to pay for all that and how we're going to have a fire department that's going to support the public here. I think that's very important. I think, we need to have a fire department. But after touring and going to see Chief Golding and seeing how there isn't enough staff and how that would impact, I personally witnessed a structure or some type of fire, and we had to pull our engine from here in San Juan. And I asked Chief Golding, hey, now that there's this huge structural fire in Hollister, what does that mean for San Juan? And he's like, well, technically that truck, that engine, you don't have anyone. They're all here supporting this structure. So while I was sitting there in this meeting, knowing that if someone called for a fire engine, we would have to wait another 20 minutes for something to come back, or for Aromas or somebody to send us an engine and give us that support. And I asked him again, how long would it take? Roughly 20 minutes. And I watched it on this little GPS thing when the engine, our truck, got to Hollister. And I can't even imagine what that would look like on a bad day with traffic. So what I'm trying to get at now, and this has been pretty frustrating, I'm new to this and coming into this, but I'm kind of, I hate to say I'm over this. I'm over it. I don't understand why Chief Golding's not at the table. I don't understand why we are not. I've personally made a few calls to one of our county supervisors, and I have yet to get a response. I've talked to everyone I can. I just don't feel like we're getting the support that we need. And I'm over it. Like, I don't know why we can't just get along and figure this out. This is, I hate to say it's bullshit. And I don't think it's that hard to figure this out, and why we can't just all sit at a goddamn table and figure it out. So at this point, where I'm going to go with, I would love to see from our city attorney, our city manager, and perhaps our other council members here, is that we reject this proposal, just like what the members of the public want. But not only do we reject it, I don't even want to talk to anyone at the county level or Hollister until everyone can get their act together and we can have Chief Golding at that meeting and someone representing San Juan and what we want. And not just, I hate to say it, not just our county supervisor, but a member from our council that knows what's going on, and not just a supervisor that checks on us once in a while or doesn't even really know what's going on. To see our contract change, like Councilman Friel said, from 3 to 2, and we're barely finding out about it, I don't see it. And knowing the fact that it's already understaffed. I've seen it, and it's devastating, and I get it. And we want to be mindful of our funds and how we're going to pay for it. But we need to figure this out, and we cannot go down to 2. We can't just have 2 firefighters. I can't imagine what that would look like. And so at this point, for me, when the time comes to vote, it's going to be a no, and not even just a no. It's going to be, I want you to send it back and tell everyone, unless you can get cheap golding and someone that's representing our town and what the people of San Juan want, then all bets are off. That's what I have to say. I have nothing else to say other than that's where I'm headed. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Friels.
Thank you. It's time for facts. So let's just bring the big gorilla in the room out. Okay. I worked on a 2-person engine company in 2 different fire departments. And that's back when I was in my mid-20s and 30s in the best shape of my life. It's brutal. I'm paying for that every day. My knees are shot. My right shoulder's shot. I did something to my back. I still have no idea what I did to it. And then neither can doctors. And that was all 2-person engine company. The chief can attest to this. The difference between 2 and 3 and FPA have done these tests. It's mind blowing how much work can get done with just 1 extra person. Now you throw in, right before I retired, we were doing the high performance CPR. So it went from, 100 beats per minute to we're up 140. 2 people doing that, it's going to be rough. And, just as a 3-person engine, one of my medics would be doing their paramedicine skills and the 2 of us would be rotating. And it was brutal, especially on a hot day in, San Martin. So that's one. Since I brought up San Martin, South Santa Clara County Fire Protection District has been dissolved. The Brain Trust in Santa Clara County dissolved it. So what that does is that now the Central Santa Clara County Fire Protection District is going to be taking over that contract. Well, what they're not going to get is the Pacheco station. The paramedic on the Pacheco engine was paid for from South Santa Clara County. It was a CAL FIRE contract. There was a CAL FIRE paramedic in a CAL FIRE station. It's the only one in the state. Station 4 gets closed out at the airport. You're not going to get folks in the northeast side of the county. You're not going to get help from the Pacheco station, or you're not going to get a medic. I can tell you that much. You'll probably get a mutual aid type 3 engine from CAL FIRE if they're there. Now that they don't have a medic, that engine's going to be fair game. It used to be a must cover station. Chief mentioned auto aid agreements and so did our mayor, auto aid agreements, and will there be something coming from that eventually? Because on this end, we won't be providing the reciprocity like the chief said. There's going to end up being cost recovery. I mean, Gilroy's going to only come over here so many times before they start saying, hey, we're not getting any help from you. So somebody's going to pay for this. That's just on this side. So that's just reality. And now as a personal note, I'm going to tell this ad hoc committee, you have damaged a relationship that we've had in the last 4 years that has been wonderful with Hollister and the county. You have damaged this relationship to the point where I don't think it's going to come back. This council member wants nothing to do with Colin Kosmicki and Ignacio. Oh, by the way, Ignacio, if you're listening and you said we didn't have a 3-person staffing, you signed the contract when you were the mayor. I've had enough. Just like Jose, I'm not going to drop any F-bombs, though, not tonight, which is pretty surprising. So I agree. And I'm sorry, San Juan Canyon residents, San Juan Valley residents, Mr. Kosmicki, you live in the San Juan Valley. This station it services your home. Folks at Rancho Larios, those multi-million-dollar homes, You know, where are you? How come none of these folks are in these meetings? It's frustrating. So, I agree. I'd like to, I'm glad we got all this information out. I'm glad a lot of people got to hear it, but I think we should table this vote until we hear what the county is going to do on their end. And I would love to see legally if this whole dog and pony show was even legal. That's the part that gets me, is how is it, we're an incorporated city. We're the oldest city in this county. And somebody's telling us what to do? Hell no. No. And then I got to do a little digging on the Pueblo Water Act. And if that's still good, then we're going to own all the water in this county. But anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Fair enough. I said I'd wait till I heard from my fellow council members on the dais and the mayor and public. Unfortunate, there's a lot of people on Zoom. I was hoping that more people would speak and more people in the room. I, like Councilmember Aranda, am new to this. This is my second, beginning of my third year, but really new to fire. Apologize for that. So, and I'm not up here to bash anybody. I think that we've heard enough of that tonight, but I just want to bring the facts out to Councilmember Friels. We are in this position, and I feel like we're in this position again, being this low guy on the totem pole in the smallest city in the county, of waving the red meat to get the county and the city of Hollister to play nice. That happened to us in the fall. We got hit with the previous council, and Mayor Casey was the mayor at that time, with this 270-day notice that they were going to cut us off 3 days ago. Okay, so that's facts. I don't like that. I don't like being in this position tonight where once again we're the red meat to get the county and the city to play nice. I too, like Councilmember Rhonda, came in here and said, you know what? I feel for the firemen. I feel for the situation, but I'm going to look out for the city of San Juan and its residents. We need a fire station to have some services. Like I said, I'm new to this. So 2, 3, I've heard what Councilmember Friels said. I can surmise, I'm not totally naive as to, yeah, 3 can get the job done better than 2. It's a very strenuous job, what's involved. But what I'm hearing too, we have a space. We have an engine, as old as it may be, we have equipment. What I'm also understanding, and this is also factual, that both the city of Hollister and the county refused to pay us rent. We are turning the lights on. We are keeping those doors open. I'm not happy with that either. So let's just get everything out in the open. And I was going to vote yes for this, but I have to say that right now, let's maybe have some talks. We still have a contract here. It doesn't end until the end of the year, December 31st of 2025. We have to move in a more positive position. I was hoping that we could come to some kind of decision tonight. I'm weighing in on what I'm hearing, but I also wanted to throw out those tidbits of facts because they did put us in a precarious situation back in the fall. We were used, and we're being kind of in that situation now to force some good agreements between, and I'm not going to take the stance that I'm not going to talk to the county or I'm going to bash people. I just want the facts out there, and I want to move forward what's best for everybody. And I have a question. So if we are going to, from 3 to 2, if we were to agree to this contract tonight, when would that take effect, Chief? That we would go from 3 to 2?
So again, I'm not going to really be able to give you a distinct answer for a couple of reasons. One, because since this is such a new contract presentation, we haven't talked about the operations. The other part to that is, earlier I stated the minimum staffing is 2. That doesn't necessarily mean it would go to 2, or would not necessarily go to 2 all the time. But as I expressed to City Manager Marioni, we sign all these contracts, everyone's happy with it. they approve it by Friday, it's not a light switch. I can't just flip a switch and go from 3 to 2 on Saturday. We are set up as 3-person engine companies, and as I've explained in previous meetings and explained the functionality of a 3-person engine company versus a 2-person engine company, we're set up as a 3-person engine company, and everybody has a job and duty that they have to do. So our standard operating procedures, our policies, a lot of those things would have to adjust and change. So
So the answer is you're really not sure.
correct.
Okay, so then here's my second question. If we do not move forward on this contract tonight and we say, okay, let's go back to the negotiating table and hopefully get a different group of individuals that we agree on that can work something out, and we continue with the current contract till the end of the year, will we still be staffed with a 3? Because that's what our current contract says.
As of right now, your current contract states that.
Mm-hmm.
So my assumption would be, yes, you would continue to be staffed with 3.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean as the negotiations are going along, if the direction is to go to 2, that I wouldn't be directed to start putting in place those same policies and operational changes to prepare for if the contract did end up going to 2. It's a
But
bunch of
that would-
speculation at that
That
point.
would have to involve us all agreeing to that. So
For us actually to make
pol-
the change, but not for us to start doing the planning portion of it. If I'm
Right.
being directed to start planning, because the contract that the county has approved, they're the only ones that have actually approved a contract, does call for 2-person minimum staffing. So regardless of what gets worked out.
that we have our own contract that is in place.
No, I
now.
understand that, but my
Yeah.
point being is our operational policies are gonna have to start examining a 2-person company
Okay.
anyways.
Okay.
Not necessarily for San Juan Bautista, but the operations and how we would operate that way. So,
Okay. And is that factual, what I'm saying? I know that to be true, but I just want to hear it, that part of the resistance is for the city of Hollister and the county, well, you can't speak for the county, to pay us rent. Are you aware of that?
So, I'm sorry.
And
If,
that would
if
be
I
the
can,
city
if I
manager.
can bring, city manager Marioni up
Yeah.
for these questions,
Thank you.
because
Thank you, Chief.
they are more for him. Sorry, they are more for
Mm-hmm.
him. Thank you.
Thank you. So I made a couple notes and I'll just clarify some things that I heard. So the county has not, voted on it. They heard terms this morning
Mhm.
and had direction to come back. They did vote to bring it back for a vote. As far as breach, the amendment in October was not signed by the county or by the city. So technically that amendment is not executed. So you could not breach an agreement that was never executed.
Mhm.
As far as the rent piece, so if you go back and you look at the previous contracts, and the first contract was a 2.0 contract, about 168,000, where you're at, and then it went to 3.0 in the 2019. And then it's going back as proposed to 2.0. It's my understanding there was some safer grant funding that had come in. So it was at 2, and then the last agreement was at 3. As part of the current contract with San Juan, when that did also go to 3, there was a provision in the contract that said that the parties would negotiate a lease. But with some basically dollar amounts, roughly it'd be about $40,000 this year. When that did go back to the city council, San Juan voted to approve it. The city of Hollister had actually failed on a 2-3 vote, and the city of Hollister actually continued to pay that. So part of the discussion with Don was, as we went through that, and Don provided me the lease. I said, well, I don't have a signed lease. I have a signed lease by San Juan. I'm not finding record of a lease countersigned by the city. That's when I went through and dug in, found on the minutes that lease failed, a 2-3, and was never formally adopted. So technically we paid that lease for many years outside of an agreed lease. So all of that, all of this provision does is remove that, and that was part of what we had spoke with Dawn about in 2024. as far as the 270 termination notice, so yes, that was provided in June. That was lifted a few months ago. The way that your current contract reads now is that it does go through December 31st of 2025. There are 3 annual 1-year options. And they automatically extend a year if the contract is not terminated per the provisions of the contract. So the provision of the contract to terminate says a 270-day notice. So absent a 270-day notice by April 5th, the contract as written right now would roll over an additional year. The city, just because this month has, there's 5 weeks in the month, our next regular meeting would be April 7th, which is after that April 5th date. So having special meetings, then by the time the next regular meeting occurs of the city, you would actually be in a position where those contracts would have rolled over a year.
So that
So-
explains the perceived urgency, or for lack of, I'm just verbalizing what other individuals have said, that they're thinking or assuming that it's not a good deal because they're rushing it. But what I just now understood you to say is there's a deadline, because if we don't renew, then it rolls over after April 5th to the current contracts.
That is correct. So that would
Okay.
be essentially a meeting regardless with the city council. It is my responsibility as city manager to never let a contract just roll. So we would have that discussion, and that would be a discussion of the
Hence
council.
the urgency in these meetings that are taking
Yeah,
place.
that's where you would be into the special meeting situation.
Thank you.
Thank
My
you.
turn?
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
know you're fishing for goodwill, but all I heard him say is we're getting another 270-day notice by April 5th. That's all I heard. Or cancellation. That's what I'm hearing. My ask is for, I think, what we want and what we have wanted. And what's wild to me is what I understood to already be happening, but I shouldn't be surprised, is that there are our 2 representatives for, looking at a feasibility study would have already been continuing to negotiate with, 2 and 2, plus you as the expert. Like, why aren't we doing that? Like that, we should be doing that. Like, let's just do that.
Let's just do that. Thank you. There have been a lot said in all 3 jurisdictions. We hear fiscal responsibility. This is a business. San Juan Bautista actually prepared for this, and we went in good faith with a contract knowing that we had monies to pay for it, just specifically for the first year. The county didn't come to those meetings. For our the study for the fire district, the county didn't show up. The city of Hollister didn't show up. And it's a couple of times on both parties, but you can't get something done without either one of those entities showing up. So I don't know how something got done with the third entity not showing up, and that's us. Nobody discussed fire insurance during this. There's the possibility, go ahead, I'm just gonna soapbox for a second. Nobody mentioned what happens when you reduce staff to insurance. And we invited an insurance company to the one town hall. And unfortunately, they weren't there, but we did hear some things from other folks on that. Somebody spoke about we have water in the back. Thank you. The legality of what happened in the past couple of days. I don't know if any of you, I don't know who showed up to the other meetings, But both the county and the city of Hollister had public comment first on something that they had no idea what they were commenting on. So it was kind of awkward. And then council or board spoke their mind and they went directly into a vote. Still on legality, the city of Hollister never made a verbal vote. There was never a roll call. There was never a, do the ayes have it? It was a thumbs up, thumbs down thing. Not sure that's actually legal either. It was odd to me, and I just have to say this, it was really odd to me that the only firehouse that is going to brown out is in Supervisor Zanger's jurisdiction, and not one person showed up, and he didn't even, he barely discussed the ramifications of that. And then the whole auto aid and mutual aid thing absolutely scares me. And I, once again, cannot thank the firefighters who do this on a daily basis and showed up for me. And I expect everybody to expect that same response. And if that doesn't happen, shame on all of us. So at this time, unless.
Can I add one more fact?
Yeah, fact on.
Sorry,
Fact away.
this, the county doesn't own a fire station. They are getting, on this side of the county, they're getting a free fire station and a free fire engine. The county's not paying rent for our station or for our fire engine. They have their own engines and they could put their engine in here, which would be no problem, but they would have to pay. Then they're gonna have to come back to the table and negotiate rent. I pointed this out at the town hall. The only resemblance of a fire station that the county had was a barn out at Tres Pinos. And that was up until the 1980s or 90s. And that's what company 53 ran. So we'll go back to the counties supplementing us, but they're not really. Because as I asked the chief, you know, a new fire station is, you know, they're expensive, 30 million ballpark. 15 to 30. And a new fire engine's $1 million plus. So that's our frustration, is that we should have had some type of seat at the table because we have assets.
Mm-hmm.
We have concrete assets. That's just my biggest frustration with this. And just to be treated like we're being treated is just, I don't get it. What did we do?
We're us.
What did we do to 4 people that were on this ad hoc committee? Those are. Thanks. Sorry.
Y'all will have a roof over your heads here. Just saying. Pass that word along. Okay. The recommendation, the resolution is written to approve a resolution and its attached proposed amendments. Amendment number 1 to the fire service agreement. Do I have a motion?
May I make a substitute motion?
Sure, absolutely.
I make a substitute motion that we reject this amendment as it is written and request that our 2 members of our ad hoc committee for fire protection services are allowed to negotiate with the county and the city's representatives with the fire chief, as we had assumed they had been doing all along. Sorry, I had to say it. In order to come to some, you know, mutual agreement on any future proposed amendment.
Can I also add? to
H-
that?
Hang on. Hang on. Sorry. Hold that thought and write it down.
Okay.
Liz, how are we doing with the substitute motion? Mutual agreement, fire chief be involved in negotiations, or the ad hoc be involved in negotiations with the fire chief. Um,
And if they don't like it.
hang on. You don't have the floor yet. Hang on, because Jackie's next with her additions. You're good? Okay, go.
And to also include our city manager.
Okay,
No, I was just gonna say the city manager, and if they reject their proposal of having Chief Golding there, then I'd say you join our ad hoc committee, and now that's how you're getting it.
and unfortunately, I have to say, sorry, go ahead. Okay, so we have a substitute amendment from.
Yes.
What's his motion?
And does the
uh,
motion maker accept Councilmember Morris Lopez's amendment or addition?
I do accept Councilmember Morris Lopez's addition.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
Okay,
Calling the question.
sure.
Councilmember Aranda,
Yes.
Councilmember Frios.
Yes.
Councilmember Morris Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia,
Yes.
and Mayor Jordan.
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all. And we're gonna take another 5.
It was an integrated waste thing and it was a special meeting because we didn't understand how to read the budget. And their software is old, so it doesn't print it out right. And so we're like, you guys need to put these GL codes and fix it so we can understand it. And that's what the special meeting. Terrible.
We didn't know how to read their own contract.
No.
We found that out.
Shit. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's fun about it. So goddamn.
Can we start with that?
Oh, well.
We definitely can, that's fun. Go.
We can.
We have quorum.
Will they pay you?
Yeah, global companies suck.
Like you literally have another work meeting after this? Just block it on. Try to block.
Well, somebody's getting surgery, so I gotta be.
Oh, we didn't.
Now we have nothing to go.
Please.
This thing is rock and roll.
Yeah, I'm ready. I just was giving a.
Oh, you're right. It's just reports, right?
Okay, we are back live. Don't run, don't run.
No fun.
No cussing.
Take some scissors.
Informational items and reports. Again, thank you all for your patience. City manager. Whatever way you want. You do.
Yes,
This is-
yes,
this
maybe
is
let
your
the
time.
public safety coordinator go first.
Absolutely. Hey, Roy, welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My report's actually short, but I do want to, yeah, I do want to start off with the, just the status of the RFP, since we've been talking fire for the last 2 hours. So, we will have our first meeting on the 27th of this month with the, Fire Advisory Committee. So we're making progress with that. I will be the lead. I will be representing the city, so I'm pushing this real quick, hopefully. And I just want to say and give props to the city of Hollister, the fire chief. He's been awesome as well. We have a Dropbox where all the information is going to be placed for Baker Tilly. So there will be no lack in timing for any information that they need during this process. So I look forward in getting this done in a timely manner and reporting back to all 3 bodies. So I just thought I'd give you that.
Quick question. Sorry, you'll be attending all of the board meeting and the council meeting?
I'm sure myself and the chief will be providing updates for this.
Okay.
So, and here's another caveat here. Schedule to complete scope of work within 120 days of award. So in case you're wondering how long this is going to take, 120 days from the award, which we awarded last week. So I know that's going to come up later. So like I said, my report's fairly short. Obviously, I've been working on the fire district RFP. I'm happy it was granted to Baker Tilly. It was approved by all bodies. Again, we were deemed as the most neutral, and Dawn took the lead on that. That's why we have it, in case there's any questions regarding that. I've also been working on the fire hazard safety zone mapping, planning with the chief as well, and Ilse from our planning division, and we will be posting, I think the maps were actually posted on our city webpage, or they will be, and our social media. And then we will also do a public announcement of where those are and what our action plan is going to be with those, but we're following the state standards on those. So we're not making any changes to the actual, to the mappings. And then the 4th of July operational order, I'm working on that. It's going to be similar to last year's. I know I've been asked about closing down the street. There's been no special events for me to actually look at closing down the street. I do have 4 cameras coming. They're one of the, actually all the camera systems have an app where we can see firsthand on our phones. So we get live feed for these cameras on our phones. I will be sharing that with fire and the sheriff's office. I'm also in the process of trying to hire security as just additional eyes and ears for the city. I will be working as well as our code enforcement officer that entire weekend. I have been in talks with the sheriff's office. I had a meeting with Sergeant Penny yesterday, and we talked about staffing as well. They have not formally been asked by the city of Hollister. So that's kind of good news. I don't know if they will. They're planning just in case they're asked by the city of Hollister. So we may see an additional deputy or two. Let's cross our fingers if that happens. So I took that as good news during our conversation. Again, they didn't make any promises or anything like that, but I just know that city of Hollister has not made that official request of them. So I take that as good news. I also working on the enterprise fleet management contract, which I'm hoping to present maybe at the special meeting, if not next month. That's pretty much a wrap, but you'll get all the financials on that. And you'll see the replacement of the vehicles that are, the one you'll mostly see is Public Works, because they have trucks with duct tape on them. And I know that the Councilman Friels has mentioned that in the past. So those vehicles will be replaced, as well as a pool car for city staff and for you. If you need to go to any conferences, we will actually have a pool car that you can utilize. So
it's like we're a big city now.
yeah, so we're looking at things, yeah. I'm sorry, you can forward my slides. And then Law and Fire Monthly Summary, Sheriff's Office, they did have a gun case with the narcotics, and that was during a car stop. That was an arrest. Narcotic citation at McClumbie Street Apartments, a warrant arrest, 300 block of the Alameda, and 11 traffic citations. Their staffing, I just want to touch on their staffing, is healthy. I don't want to say they're at, fully staffed or anything. Let's just say that it's healthy to the point where even on our designated deputies days on or days off, I'm sorry, we see additional deputies cruising through town. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but plenty of car stops by additional deputies who I was told like to patrol San Juan Bautista and our surrounding areas. So again, I take that as a win. I take that as a positive. And then I just want to touch real quick on non-emergency calls for service. Sometimes, say if you get called by a citizen and they want to report something, when I did presentations in Santa Cruz to citizens or to county council, anybody like that, I'd always start off with don't become a witness. Refer them to the sheriff's office, dispatch, if they want to report a crime, if they want to report something that has to do with the fire department, don't become a witness. Just kind of letting you guys know that. Just refer it to the professionals, right? So let them call NetCom, the non-emergency number if it is a non-emergency. Obviously, if it's an emergency, have them call 911. So because by the time somebody calls you and then you call someone else, and it could be third, fourth party story by the time it gets to a sheriff's office. So let's avoid that. Have them call NetCom right away. Again, this assured a timely response from a deputy or any emergency personnel. And then city staff will obtain reports from the sheriff's office or fire department if it has anything to do with city property for insurance purposes. We could always obtain that later from the sheriff's office. So I just wanted to cover that real quick. And then as far as the fire department, they responded to 2 fires, both in the county, 7 medical calls, 12 vehicle accidents, only 1 within city limits, and they had an inspection of the Mission RV Park for last month. And then my next slide is the town hall meeting. Thank you all for attending. I thought it was a great success. You guys covered it earlier. I'm not going to rehash that, but I thought it was a great success, and I felt extreme support from all of you. So I just want to thank you for that. And I'm sure we'll do more. And then code enforcement. Oscar is always busy with different violations. We have issued citations to people that park on the wrong side of the street. I know that's been a topic. I think we're up to maybe 2 or 3 citations on certain vehicles in the city. And I've also passed along that information for after hours. So if somebody is violating and not parking on the right side of the street, the sheriff's office has also been notified. So they can come, cruise the town when it's dark and maybe issue some citations as well. So Oscar has 7 new code enforcement cases That includes buildings without permits, parking and zoning violation, one stop order for a building without an encroachment permit. 3 previously recognized nuisance properties are moving through the legal/civil process. Again, that's another win that I wanted to report on. Some of those properties are up for sale. You can remember those properties I have discussed in the past. So along with our legal counsel, it's been moving. I'm very impressed. Thank you, John, for your assistance and your office's assistance. That process is moving. And it's a clear message to other people with similar properties. So we won't hesitate to start that process with people that are neglecting their property. So it's been good for us. And then 5 fire lane parking citations were issued by Oscar. And then in regards to a property on McCollum, the San Benito Health Foundation, we've also notified them of their property and what they need to clean up and such. And we will be meeting with a representative from their company soon in the near future to discuss cleanup, to discuss better fencing, the properties on one of the abandoned buildings on that property as well. So maybe they need to secure those. So we are constantly talking to people. We're making tons of phone calls and we're moving along. So I thought this month or last month was a win for us. Any questions?
Thank you, Councilmember Aranda.
Yeah, a quick question. Where are we with, I know we talked about it at the last council meeting, perhaps maybe closing down Third Street for 4th of July, the rally and whatnot. Is that still a option to, contain things so that it doesn't get out of control, or for the fire, for the sheriff, if we're not going to have all the police support that we need, what are we going to do about making sure like Third Street's kind of under control, you would say?
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't had time to plan on that.
Got it.
I'm busy with the fire
No worries, no.
contract. But I will discuss it with our city manager. Usually when we close the street down for more than 2 to 3 or 2 days, I know it affects business downtown.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of, I'm
hesitant.
cautious and hesitant with that, but we can discuss it and bring it to the next.
Got it. No worries. Yeah, I just wanted to know if that was still an option or something, just for security related reasons.
Nope, thanks, right. I'm happy to see the fleets moving forward, and it's nice to see you happy at a presentation. Thank you.
And I'm tired too.
Thank you, Roy. So anyway, I have a question on the zoning you said something about zoning. What can you expand on that?
That's the property I think you and I have discussed before. So I
Okay.
know, Ilse is working with 4-Leaf on that zoning, and
Mhm.
we've been in contact with the property owners there as well. So we're making progress. I'm hoping to
Okay.
give you a better report next time, but the right parties are discussing.
Okay. And then adding to that to-do list, if it'd be possible to, because I feel like part of the issue here is that we have codes in place and sometimes people ignore them because until you and Roy, Oscar came on board, there was, it relied on neighbors snitching each other out, for lack of a better word, So it's nice to have professionals that are looking at our codes and going around and doing this so that there's, neighbors can still be good neighbors to each other, but it's just a matter of follow-up. So with that being said, we have some warehouses in the area and some properties that are in residential areas. And when our former assistant city manager was here, he kind of, I think, was loosely interpreted some of those mixed zoning areas that were in residential and allowed permits of certain businesses, which is fine if they fit, that specifics, but sometimes the businesses were told to contain their products or their business equipment inside a building. And sometimes that's not happening. So I guess what I'm asking is, can you just go back and follow up on that like you follow up on everything else? Because once again, then it relies on neighbors that have property next to these said buildings or businesses to be snitching And I don't think that we should, you know, have our residents feel like they have to do that. It just makes it uncomfortable, awkward, and we should have follow through. And with that, also the whole of Third Street for me has been an issue since even before I was on the planning commission, before I got elected, is we have obvious right now, sign and, display codes. And there's a lot in clear violation. And it's a free for all. And I know that you guys are busy, but these are some simple things. And, it would really help our street, because I know you're big on making the city look nice and presentable and attractive for people coming through. And I know maybe their intention is to make it attractive, but we have codes for signage and display downtown, because there's a lot of shops that are displaying their wares on the sidewalk. And we've got a lot of banners going up, a lot of lights, neon flashing, rope lights and all of the such. And we do have codes in place, and those codes were painstakingly arrived at in consideration with the historic ambiance of the town, and actually not even ambiance. It's like, face it, they're on the historical register. Yeah. So anyway, thank you so much for your work. Last thing, how's our resident that's camping out there?
So he was visited, losing track of time, last Monday by the county. He
Mhm.
was offered county services, and he actually was, he did not decline all services,
Mhm.
and they were gonna do some follow-up visits with him. So,
Maybe the Health Foundation can make him a security guard on their property. Put a little
Mayor
tiny
Pro Tem
home out
Serapia.
there. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very much. No questions.
You wouldn't happen to have the non-emergency phone number? I just looked to see if I had it, just so we can put it at the bottom of a ticker on the screen, so. Sorry, I say that all the time. On the bottom of your screen.
831-636-4080.
That's the non-emergency line for
That
the.
is the non-emergency line for Santa Cruz Netcom.
And you talked about, it was either 7 new code enforcement cases, 1 stop order, or 3 previously recognized nuisance properties. And you said some certain ones, or is it the same people that we're going to day in and day out?
The 3 homes, the 3 properties.
Nope, I don't think it was that one. It was either the stop order or the 7 new codes.
No, these are all new.
New?
Yeah.
Oh, good, okay. Well done, thank you. Are we continuing with the ones that are the same? There are several that I'm sure have been visited several times for, I don't know, maybe a permanent food truck.
Yes, we are following up on, I will report on that
Thank you.
at the next meeting.
Thank you. Okay, carry on. We're good? Everybody good? Thank you very much. Safe drive home.
Thank you, Roy.
Yes. Sorry.
City Clerk, is Caitlin on for recreation? Okay, then I will deliver the city manager report. If we could push the recreation presentation to next month,
Sure.
be awesome.
Recreation now pushed to next month.
Thank you. I'm so sorry. Caitlin is at the recreation conference in Sacramento. So she's at a training. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm gonna take a deep breath and not speed through this too quickly, but it's a lot, so I apologize. Since assuming the role of interim city manager on January 6th, I've been focused on strengthening internal operations, improving community engagement, and addressing key infrastructure and policy matters. And this report provides an update on efforts through mid-March 2025, highlighting significant actions taken, ongoing projects, and upcoming initiatives. Next slide, please. First thing is we had a lot of discussion, and I apologize, about a mid-year budget update. I had lots of discussions in looking at certain contracts and line items and having discussions with Wendy. And what I discovered was we don't need to do a mid-year update because I'm not making any recommendations for changes. I'm not going to bring you any new items for your approval or any new projects. I would love for us to maintain status quo and focus on the new budget year. And I just wanted to kind of give you a brief update. We had some discussions with Four Leaf. They handle our building and planning projects for the city. We discussed, the fact that their contract updates, our budget constraints, and how we need to constrain our spending and our contract with Four Leaf. So we addressed some billing practices. We talked about special projects, and I emphasized that we need proper documentation for services that are rendered and more specificity on how much time is spent on their projects, and help with advanced permitting processes. I also had a conversation in a meeting with M&S, and we discussed how that budget is being allocated, making sure that projects that they work on for the city are assigned to the proper coding. We also talked budget constraints, billing practices, and more communication between the city administration and M&S so that we're working real closely together on what specific projects they're working on for us. M&S does a lot for us. We have an in-house city engineer that's here, I believe, 4 days a week. And he has a lot of projects. And so we just want to make sure we are understanding exactly what everyone is doing and how to move forward. So that's the mid-year budget update. So I'm not going to bring you any more talk about mid-year. We are planning, here's a little slide about our leadership and staff development. We've been working on this. So on February 19th, we met as a team. We discussed what innovation in teams look like. We discussed policies, procedures, and liabilities. This team knows I'm always asking, is it a liability? That's my favorite question. And then we planned and held an all-staff meeting on March 12th. This is an opportunity for everyone on the team to ask me questions and to hear about closing the loop and what that means. That is a struggle for us. We are a small staff, small city with lots of questions and lots of emails and lots of calls. And so talking about how to close the loop on that stuff and getting ahead was interesting, but we're making an effort. We've scheduled a staff in service on April 19th. That is an opportunity for everyone in the city, as far as staffing is concerned, to do a needs assessment and continue some team building efforts. We plan to use our findings to assist the council with future strategic planning. So one of the things in city talk, we call it a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. In organizational development language, we call it SOAR. It's a way more positive way of looking at what the city is facing and how we overcome those challenges. And you need to understand that from a staff perspective, right?
You get me all choked up on this stuff. As a person who's so used to being structured,
Yeah.
This is a breath of fresh air.
I'm trying to understand what Citygate did, and my way of addressing that lack of understanding is by providing more information, more data. So that's happening. We are working with an independent consultant who will come in that's specifically for organizational development and leadership to help us with that process. So next slide, please. Continuing on the community engagement and public meetings, I had an opportunity to attend a Discover San Juan meeting vis-a-vis, San Juan Business Association. Thank you. I'm like, that's a mouthful. But it was good for me. I was able to kind of understand the structure of Discover San Juan versus the Business Association, how that works. Hear from them on what their concerns are regarding Third Street, and kind of move forward from that. We're going to continue with attending regularly those meetings if we're invited. I have offered to do that, as I've offered to attend a lot of community meetings. So the commitment is that if I can't go, I'm going to ask a staff person to go. And we're going to collect information, provide feedback, and be helpful in any way we can to say, hey, there's a process for that. Did you know there's a process for that? Can you help us with this and this? And try to build some partnerships and collaboration that way. Next slide, please. Roy beat me to the punch. There's going to be a fleet upgrade happening. Enterprise is going to be doing a presentation next month. Should be fascinating. This stuff is all accounted for in our CIP. So this is something that is a part of our plan. Next slide, please. We are continuing our engagement with state and federal stakeholders to advocate for key city priorities, specifically for our water and wastewater compliance project, and any funding opportunities for the drinking water pipeline development and potential ADROP funding opportunities, and potential fire hydrant upgrades. That we're doing our best on that. It is it's a really tough time to lobby for funding. I will tell you, because I have you all here and I can tell you publicly, that I was notified that our 1.1 million earmark that we received from Lofgren's office is no more. That was eliminated by the federal government in their budget and reassigned somewhere else. But we will continue to put in for earmarks. We have some applications opening up for Senator Padilla, Senator Schiff. I'm sure Representative Lofgren will have another opportunity. So we are still working with our state lobbyists. We're not giving up. We are going to keep pushing forward as best we can. So it's just an FYI, you know, it's a tough time, but we're paying attention and we're doing the best we can to continue to advocate for San Juan Bautista. Next slide, please. So a couple of little infrastructure development stuff. Submitted a progress report to the Central Coast Regional Water Quality Control Board for the last quarter of 2024. We are continuing our water treatment agreement and ADROP discussions with the Water District. We're gonna host a water study session with the council on the 25th at 5:30. We are working on the RFP for the drinking water pipeline that is to design the pipeline, and that is a huge and crucial step that we need in order to go after grant funds. We have to be able to show them this is what it is, these are all the plans, so we have to push forward on that drinking water pipeline. And we do have funding to move forward on the design of that, regardless of grant funds. Do we want to be reimbursed? Absolutely. But we do have the funds to move forward. I have received a draft salt management report from M&S. It is their initial assessment of you know, what our salt management plan could look like for the city, how we move forward with treatment softeners, water softeners, a water softener program of some type, how we're going to work with our industrial users, what do we need to do in order to initiate agreements, permits, etc. So we're working on that. Met with the water quality team quite a lot this past month or so. We are set to attend a meeting in San Luis Obispo with the Regional Water Quality Board in person. They've requested that I come in person on April 9th. So we will be doing that. They want to meet me, obviously, and they want to kind of give me the history, and I'm sure they want to tell me about any other things they want me to know. So I will be sure to report back those findings once I have them. And then I also I've met with the administrative officer for LAFCO. I've had some light conversations about the sphere of influence and the general plan. Those are things that that are on this list that I need to kind of wrap my hands around and get a good understanding of, because they're coming up fast and furious. I received a draft of the presentation to the Board of Soups for the Sphere of Influence, MOU. I have some questions, so stay tuned for that. I'll send you guys an email and let you know. I may ask to push so that I can get a better understanding of what is going on. Just not forever, just for a minute or so that I can figure that out. Next slide, please. In the midst of all that, because we need grants for our drinking water pipeline and any other projects that were going on, I have kind of started meeting with consultants and requesting proposals so that we can get a sense of how much can we get done on a $50,000 contract, for instance. How much work would a grant consultant do? I've seen a lot of previous contracts with the city that say, for instance, $100,000 on-call contract. And I then ask the question, what did we get for that $100,000? And I don't think we're getting anything. So I have asked our professionals, our lobbying professionals and our finance professionals, hey, who do you work with? Who do you know that specializes in drinking water, water quality, that understands how to go after this money? And they've come up with these names: B&A Consulting, Adams Ashley, M&S Grant Writing, and Agnew Beck. So I'm just having initial conversations with them and gathering up proposals. So stay tuned, but that process has started. Next slide, please. Okay. San Juan School has a construction project, and this is a multi-year project. Construction is set to start May, June of 2025. The school, we're planning to, I believe I've invited them, but the day and the time is making my brain turn to mush. Our plan is to get them here, invite them to come and present to the council and give a public presentation about what the plans are for the school. They have a lot of plans, but there are also going to be some impacts to the city, traffic, closing of parking lots, and not able to use the soccer field for a period of time. There's a lot of moving parts. It's a really big project. So the sooner they can come and talk to the council and tell the community what the plan is, the better. Yes. Yes. And the rib cook off. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, wow.
There's going to be a huge impact to us. So the sooner they come and then we understand, are they for real? Are they sure? Because they seem pretty confident, but we'll see. This has been a huge project in the making for them, and they still have a lot of moving parts on their end too. In that parking lot. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Next slide, please. Okay. So that concludes my presentation. Next steps: secure some grant funding, finalize the salt management report, and then focus on the water study session for next week. Any questions for me?
Yes, the only question I have is, great work, Ashley, as always, always kicking butt. Like literally, that's impressive. The only thing I was gonna say, when you're looking at that grant writing stuff, I think we spoke about it, perhaps in our one-on-one. Any way to have that person search for grants for our fire services? Obviously, you know, we need to be financially stable here with all our stuff. I know we're paid, we have the monies to like put towards it, but going forward, what does that look like for us as a city? And so I would like to see if there's any grants that we can explore to maybe, pay a little more, get that third person, or I don't know what it is, right? Because obviously from what Chief Golding was saying, it was 750,000 for another person. I don't know if that's right, but I think we should also explore looking into that possible, just to see if there is anything.
That's on my list. So
Sweet.
it's water. Our focus, our number one priority is clearing up the compliance project.
Obviously, yeah.
But fire has been mentioned, and our fire hydrants and all of our needs and any opportunities there.
Yeah,
and
even
also,
the truck,
and
like
also
our fire
parks.
truck. Yeah.
So there's other opportunities. There are other things in that list.
Great. And yeah, no, and I think that's it. Other than that, great job. as always.
Thank you. Councilmember Friels.
Good stuff. Thank you. Thank you for, pulling those contracts and going, are we really getting our bang for our buck on these? I mean, it's nice to see somebody doing, a self audit or a internal audit, which is, yeah, which is really nice. The fleet thing is going to be huge. Just, yeah, those guys are driving around just junkers, and it just gotta help. This ought to help with morale at least, and maybe next step, get rid of the bucket truck and all that other junk that's in city yard. It's like, God, we're a bunch of hoarders. But thank you. You're a breath of fresh air. Thank you.
Agreed.
Jackie. Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Yes, everything that everyone else said before me, I agree with. Thank you, Ms. Colick. You're doing a great job. You're really delving into these contracts. That was one of my concerns, like where can we cut corners? Where can we save money? It's about oversight. So you mentioned Four Leaf and MSN. I think we know what we're getting with them. They're really actually matching what they do and what we pay them. My concern is still with Four Leaf. Was there any talk about changing vendors or?
So my plan is to continue doing my assessment on the contracts, and that's all the contracts for Leaf, M&S, that's everybody. And I have received a ton of feedback from the community and from the council on Four Leaf. And so we are still looking into that. And we will be, so our plan in general is I think Liam Marioni mentioned, every year you have to redo a contract. We should be doing that here too. And a lot of our consultants are we're out of compliance with our own policies. And so how do we start to build a system that gets us back in alignment and gets everybody back in line, where a contract is associated with a dollar amount that can tie directly to the budget. Everybody knows what that is. And we're holding we're holding ourselves accountable, but we're also holding them accountable, and they're holding themselves accountable. It's an unusual culture for me to encounter, and this is not a reflection of Four Leaf, I'm just speaking in general,
Right.
organizations or that work with us that are consultants, but they don't know what their budget is. They don't know what their account number is. They just continue to bill, and because we gave them work to do, and they don't say, hey, this is how much it costs. You only have $5,000 left in your account, right? That statement alone is the mark of a good organization that we want to work with. Somebody that understands the law, that values the public dollar. All those things are really, really important, and I'll be looking and paying attention to all those things when I make my recommendations for you for the next year's budget.
Okay, because some of the, and I know that we've spoken about this, is that some major projects coming in, we've relied on Four Leaf to work with the project, the development, and there's been some issues. And so that's really affecting our ability as a city to say, yes, we want you to come here, we want economic development, but then at the same time, we're relying on this vendor to deliver, and it's really putting a huge hiccup in things moving forward, which it's a liability. Like you said, is it a liability? Yeah, because these people can just fold up and say, you know what, sorry, we don't want to do it after all, and leave. Yeah.
We're definitely looking at all of our processes. And I'll just tell you this, and this is why I want to address it from the staff administration side too, which is we've had some transition, some turnover. And what is happening is that the previous person in the job takes the history with them. They take the process with them. So the new person coming into the job has to kind of reinvent the wheel. And so the culture that is typical in local government of follow the code, there's pull that binder off the shelf, dust it off. What does it say? That is that is something that we have to shore up here.
Right, and
in our city.
can you also, and maybe, Council, Griffin can add to this. So when you have a contract with a vendor and say for some reason that vendor, that contract, is terminated for whatever reason, can you write in the original contract that we have property rights over the work that was done so that it can transfer over to the next vendor? Not just the binder on the shelf?
Certainly. Yeah.
Thank you for your hard work. Appreciate it.
We, sorry. I don't even know. Two things. You mentioned a salt management report and softener program. San Benito County Water District, through their Water Resources Association, has a turn in your old and we'll give you cash. Turn in your old and buy a non-salt one and we'll give you cash. So there is a program out there. We are part of it. Same as the turf removal. We have something hanging up in the at Carmen's desk at the front office for leak detection. That's all part of the Water Resources Association. And if you look at the bottom of your screen, the phone number to contact is. So you just looked. Well done. The other thing is Microvi, the nitrate removal plant. Something else to look at. I don't know where we are with that. If you want to talk about it, go ahead.
I was just going to mention that that's a part of the drinking water
Okay.
pipeline plan, and we've accounted for it in our fundraising efforts.
Okay, thank you. Good. Yeah, right. Good luck at the water, the Regional Water Quality Control Board. That's gonna be fun. And LAFCO and the Sphere of Influence, myself and Supervisor Zanger are on the ad hoc for that. And we should be getting that in the next couple of days. So just an FYI. Thank you. Okay, anything from council on public comment? Do we have public comment on everything and anything that our city manager just discussed? We actually have people with us. Yeah, thank you. You did a great job. Thank you. Okay. Moving right along. Board. Thank you. Board reports. Councilmember Aranda.
Yes, I attended the integrated waste meetings. I've also done some volunteering time with them, but pretty much essentially we were going over this year's budget, which will be going out to you, city manager, for review, and then you just let us know if you want to, if we need to send it back. But we were looking at that today. We had a special meeting about it, simply just to look at how that reporting structure is. It's not perfect. I guess there's some GL codes that the integrated waste department doesn't have access to, so we requested that they get those access to it, and we kind of showed them how to create this report that's easy for us to read and understand. So that's in play right now. I did attend some of their hazardous waste pickup events, which was really nice, and I did attend the community cleanup event with our Parks and Recs. So thank you, Caitlin, for putting that on. I can't remember if I reported on this last time. I did meet for the Democratic
San Benito County
San-
Democratic,
God, I'll never get the name. San Benito Democratic Club, something.
SBC,
Central,
DCC.
yeah, all of it.
Central Committee.
As much as I love them. So I am their alternate. I paid my dues. We're ready to rock and roll. Should I need to step in for anything? I attended the AMBAG meeting as well. That really went really well. We're getting up to speed there. And what else? I'm trying to think. I have been attending some subcommittees here in town that have are working on doing like some holiday events here and kind of getting all that stuff situated here in town. So, that's coming along really well, and we'll have more of a report for that once we kind of have more details on things. But other than that, I don't have much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I attended my first area agency on aging. It's San Benito and Santa Cruz counties combined. Wow. So we're an advisory committee and it's huge. And that outfit does a lot of work throughout the two counties. I forget his name now, Clay's last name.
Kemp.
Kemp? Yeah. That guy's a dynamo. Mostly just orientation, getting our feet wet. I did a lot of listening because there was a lot to absorb. A bunch of contracts were put out this last month, so those announcements will be coming through for as far as like meal preparations and serving and things like that. Santa Cruz folks are kind of taking a big hit because the Live Oak Community Center, I believe, I guess the school revoked their lease. So now Santa Cruz is scrambling to find a like a community or a senior center.
We have one here.
Yeah, well, it's for Santa Cruz County. They've got a lot of people over there. But yeah, it was interesting to hear. There was, a lot of concerns and about some of the budget cuts and stuff, but so far so good with all that. And have another meeting on Thursday. Fortunately, so they changed their office. It's over in Watsonville now. A little bit limited seating, so we have the opportunity to zoom in, which I think I'm probably going to do. It was good to see the headquarters, but I think it's going to be easier. And the other two representatives for this county is Angela Curro and Mindy Sotelo. So we were all just like, holy moly, we got a lot of work to do. So and that's the only one I'm on right now. So, well, the fire board, but we haven't, none of that stuff. You already heard me on that stuff. Thank you.
Oh, and Madam Mayor, can I add on? I totally forgot as well. I also attended the, God, I don't even know what it was called, but pretty much San Juan School, we had a meeting about,
Immigration, know your
immigration,
rights.
rights and how that went. And it was a really positive meeting. The Latino Coalition and our sheriff, a bunch of people were there, including myself and Mayor Jordan. And I just want to let everyone know if you do have questions or if there's any concerns, we brought that paperwork and the process on and knowing your rights and whatnot. All that can be found here, I believe, at City Hall, but also at our library.
At the library.
Yeah, so all that's there, and that was also a very positive event. So yeah, we're here to support.
Thank you. Councilmember Morris Lopez.
So thank you, Mayor. So I did attend here, the, not COG, intergovernmental, meeting was, we were scheduled to have it the first Thursday of the month. And the city of San Juan is now hosting the meetings at our city hall. But somehow there was a confusion, so the meeting did not go forward because there was a misunderstanding about how the other members were to attend, and there were some that were on Zoom, but they should have been here in person. So that did not go forward. I attended the COG meeting actually, no, I attended a public meeting at the Epicenter in Hollister. I believe it was last week. And Caltrans was there and there was a mediator and it was open to the public. And the Caltrans representative went over all the alternative plans for the Highway 25 expansion. There was a lot of questions, a lot of discussion about the potential costs and when it's going to start, when it's going to be finished. So kind of that's all kind of up in the air too, because construction costs are going up, the uncertainty of the federal budget source and state source. But it was very interesting. There are some farmers there. And it's kind of sad and confusing because here we are at the same time promoting the preservation of ag land and also protecting ag land and acquiring more ag land. But at the end of the day, if we do go with some of those alternatives, the farmers that were there spoke. And it's kind of like when the firemen spoke, you kind of get it from their point of view and their perspective that this may cut through their properties and pretty much alter their livelihood forever. And even if they get paid by the state or the county or whoever, that doesn't make up for the potential income that they lose over X amount of years, even though they get a dollar amount for that dirt, right? So that was an eye opener. I think it was a good meeting. There was a good turnout. And then I know this is kind of going into the next item of future announcements. Well, it's part of COG. So I'm also got voted to be part of the Central Coastal Commission with with SLO County, I believe Monterey County and Santa Cruz County, and I represent San Benito. So tomorrow morning at 5, we're leaving Benu Abrams and I, the CEO of COG, to drive to Sacramento, and with the other county members, we're going to meet and we're going to go to the Capitol and lobby our electeds for money. So is there anything that you all want me to say besides Highway 25? Just shoot me an email or a text. But we do have talking points, but Ms. Abrams, who is the CEO, said we're going to talk in the car. And so if there's any additional things I can bring up, one of them I am going to talk about, and I have talked about it the last COG meeting, was getting an LED lit up crosswalk from the Alameda to the center of town to cross the highway. Because that's a huge safety issue, especially, it's always been, right? It's always been. So even though there is a stoplight, I feel like it needs to be illuminated. So people that are coming from 156 going east, they often are speeding, and sometimes you have to not rely that they're going to stop at that red light. And so I also asked about considering putting some more flashing lights probably further east on 156, like maybe even by Rocks Road, some signage saying you're going to be entering a zone where there's construction or slowing down. And one other thing, so that's what I brought up before COG and also the Caltrans representative that was there. And then one thing I did, and I was really surprised that Caltrans jumped on this and actually got it accomplished. But I don't know if anyone here or even on the audience has ever paid attention to the historic adobe wall kind of structure in Bell Tower that's on 101 going north. Well, for the last few years, it's become like an ad hoc or a pseudo shrine. There's been a lot of stuff out there, and I understand people maybe want to, have their beliefs, but my thing was that it could look a lot nicer. Those are, once again, follow codes. That's public right away. Do they not have permits to do this? It doesn't belong there. So I really advocated for that. And guess what? It got torn down and cleaned up. So if you go out there, it looks really nice. You can see the hills. There's not trash out there. One weekend after they got torn down, my husband and I went out there and we picked up some more trash. So maybe at a future meeting, we can talk about maybe if the city wants to consider adopt a highway and the city of San Juan can maybe take that over and keep it clean. I don't know. It's a Caltrans thing. They took it down and it looks really nice. Thank you.
On the COG end, could you, next meeting when Caltrans does their reports on their project and everything, can you kind of hold their feet to the fire on the turn lane here and what the heck they're doing about that?
Yes.
Okay.
first next time.
Yeah.
Take us under.
Yes.
Yeah, because,
Yeah.
I mean, we got to get this project
Oh,
finished.
yeah. Yeah, we do.
Even if they open, more of a right turn lane, right now you have to come to a complete stop and then make a right turn. And invariably, cars in the left lane are blowing through the stoplight, and starting to go straight and then make the turn, and it's horrific. So if we can get that right turn lane, an actual right turn lane, I mean, they're not doing anything there. They haven't done anything in months, and it's horrible.
Yeah, and the orange cones are knocked over because people are having issues navigating that turn.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I do have the COG meeting this Thursday, so I'll bring it up.
thank you. Or even in your conversations on the 3-hour drive up.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. The immigration Know Your Rights at San Juan School, really well attended, both in person and in Zoom. The school district was there, the sheriff's department was there was an immigration attorney there, the Latino Coalition, Speaker Rivas's office. And again, there's this red card that's at the library, and an informational packet that the Latino Coalition put together is also there. Intergovernmental, thank you. It was canceled for lack of a quorum in chambers. Supervisor Zanger showed up. It was his first time here. It was kind of funny. It was a lot of folks' first time here. So, hopefully, Liz, thank you for managing the video. Some folks thought it was their meeting. Tourism Committee, it went from the Economic Development Committee, it's a board commission, and it is now called the Tourism. Part of it is rebranding San Benito County as home of the Pinnacles National Park. And, there was a conversation about renaming Highway 25 from Highway 101 to the Pinnacles, from Airline Highway to Pinnacles National Highway. Sounds, I'm not sure where that's going with the actual board. It's really weird. From 101 to Union is Pinnacles Highway. From Union to the Pinnacles is Airline Highway. It's kind of backwards. But people who have been living on Airline Highway yeah. So people who live on Airline Highway are not going to be thrilled with the change, but that was thrown around for the rebranding as home of the Pinnacles. There also has to be conversation with the other counties, or Monterey County for that as well. They also talked about a TOT tax of 2%. LAFCO, there was an appointment of the public member and the alternate member. Julio Rodriguez was appointed for the public member, and Lynn Mello as the alternates. There was a lot of discussion around tax sharing agreements, and discussion on the wastewater MSR that is in the hands of Supervisor Kosmicki and Mayor Stevens. The chair at the previous meeting put all MSRs on hold, so I'm not sure what's actually going on with that ad hoc. Again, Supervisor Zanger and I are on the ad hoc for the MSR for San Juan Bautista. Business Council was at Gavilan College, super cool. They hosted it, the new one in, thank you, Hollister. That's it. That's all I have. No, those other two didn't meet. Oh, the San Benito County Democratic Central Committee.
Oh, yeah. No,
Was
and we
there.
forgot another one. We both attended the business council meeting.
The business council meeting. Yeah, it was, yeah. It
God, we were
was,
busy.
oh no, that's not even half of it. You're funny.
This all comes to me at the last minute. Like,
That's all I have.
yeah. And we toured the Gavilan College campus, the new one.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really
Does
nice.
anybody have anything that they want to talk about for events that are coming up in 2 seconds?
And she's
Yeah, whatever's coming up.
Okay.
PSAs right now.
If you're hungry, tomorrow at Lola, there will be a one-time super visiting chef from Mexico City
Heck yeah.
making a chicken sandwich.
Going to that.
And
Would that be spell check?
Would that-
Would that be Lucas?
Would that be Lucas? That'll be my son
Yeah.
visiting from Mexico
That was his
City.
nickname when he was on the fire.
Yeah,
department.
yeah, that was him. And then also I just wanted to once again thank Mayor for pushing the resolution for honoring National Women's Month. I want to thank all of us that are here that are women. Also, the 3rd Street. I know we know this, the majority of the small business owners in this town are women. And I see some of you on the Zoom meeting. I want to thank you for holding it down and working through COVID and working through all the changes in the economy. Thank you very much. You make our 3rd Street what it is. All you women, small business owners out there, kudos to you and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, other than, I know we're kicking off Play Music on the Porch Day, which was really cool. I attended that last year. So I believe we've got some homes down. I'm going to be one of them again participating. So I'm excited for that. So hope to see everyone there when that, I don't play, I just host and then I enjoy. And then the other one too, I wanted to mention too was Porch Sounds. No, not Porch Sounds. It's maybe it's a different thing. I know that there's something going on at the Windmill Market where they're going to be playing some.
Oh, right. On Saturday.
Yeah, on Saturday. It's like every, I don't know what, but it's
Yeah,
out there.
there's going to be live music at
gonna be
the
live music
windmill in the corner.
in the corner, and I think that's really neat. So go out
Yeah.
there. I know our local band, Dead Cowboys,
Cowboys are
are
gonna be
going to be there. So be supportive. I'd love to see everyone there. That's all I got.
Yeah. Senior lunches served Monday at the community center, Wednesday at Casa Maria,
At
and
12.
Thursday community center.
Sweet.
Next month, I think next month, peak day, I think is next month. It'll be back at the VFW because the state park is a disaster. So
What
can't
day?
even have it. I don't remember the exact, but it's,
No, what is it?
peak day or Founder's Day. It's
Oh,
it's
peak
both.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fremont
sorry.
peak day.
Fremont Peak. Yeah.
And then, just as a side note, and I want to announce this out there, San Juan Padres forever. Only because there's some people that want to change the name.
What?
And I'm fighting them on it. So is Juan Candelaria. So we're a force to be
Giant.
reckoned with.
Graduated from there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
You're old.
Oh,
Wait,
sorry.
See, she's Padres.
I said my 8th grade class was the first 8th grade class that attended the new school for the entire school year.
That's amazing.
I'm
That's
not
awesome.
going to tell you what year because then you'll know how old I am.
1968.
Thank you to everybody. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a
Second.
second? Thank you. Motion made by Councilmember Friel, seconded by Councilmember Rhonda. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aranda,
Yes.
my God. Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris Lopez,
Yes.
Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia, absent, and Mayor Jordan.
Yes.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Who was the first for the?
And then you were the
And
second.
I was the second.
Oh, yeah, what, I'm sorry, what?
Oh, can I hand this to you?